What's going on, Internet? The Black Okage here, aka TBH, and to be honest, I'd like to welcome you all back to the Gaming Illuminati podcast. We are the Enlightened Gamers, and you're now tuned into episode 140. If you're watching the video version of this show at youtube.com/GI updates, know this show is available on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, and all other major podcast platforms. Be sure to rate the show 5 stars on Apple and Spotify because we need your 5-star rating to move up that algorithm and bring in potential new listeners. Also, follow the podcast on social media. We drop daily content on our social media pages. We're available on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram, and our handle for every social media platform is at GI Updates. There will be links in the description box below if you're watching the video version at youtube.com/GI Updates. Now, allow me to introduce you to my co-host, which, by the way, can I just say, this is probably the first show where I did not fuck up the intro. Can y'all clout me up? No, I'm just joking. Let me.
It took long enough, man. It took long enough. Hey, shout out to you, man.
Allow me to introduce y'all to my co-host, the first of which still has not beat Hogwarts Legacy. And if he doesn't beat it soon, that's probably going to be his legacy. UTXJG the Don. Say what up to the people.
Hey, look, man. You clown me. Say you clown me. I don't know what to say, my G. I don't know what to say. It's about to get worse from here. If you know, you know.
What's taking you so long with that game? Is it boring you or something?
No, honestly, Wolong just came along and I decided to take priority over that. So
I feel that.
I beat that game.
Okay, we'll give you that. We'll clout you up on that. We're gonna talk about that on the show as well. We're gonna talk about that. And my second co-host, he was late to the show. He was also late to beating Wulongas, and he didn't beat it, which once again we're gonna be talking about on this show. Ethos, say what up to the people.
What's up, everybody? I apologize. I'll do better.
I appreciate that.
I'll let y'all down.
Hey, man, he PC with it.
The PR answer, bro.
You like, I ain't even got that, bro.
I got no excuses.
You got me. I don't beat my games. You right.
No, okay, you got me.
All right, so special announcement before we get into the show. The GI podcast is now sponsored by Discord. And I wish I had like a sound effect for you. I'm just going to make one. I'm sorry.
You just edited it.
Big thank you to Discord for supporting the show. In celebration, we've made several major upgrades to our Discord. One being that it is now free for everyone to join our Discord. And if you would like to join the Discord, you can join at discord.gg/GI updates. There will be a link in the description box below. Now, if you want to further support us, we're awful. I'm not awful. I'm a great guy. We're also offering paid tiers outside of the free one. The paid tiers help keep the lights on, but you'll also receive a bunch of cool perks in exchange. Perks such as monthly giveaways. We're doing community events such as like tournaments. Right now, I'm actually raising money. I've raised $700. My goal is to get to 1,000. And I said if we raise 1,000, I'll match it to 2,000. So that's gonna be for like the Discord, and I don't know what game we're gonna play. We haven't decided. I'm gonna let y'all vote. It could be Apex, Tekken, Street Fighter, Rainbow. I don't know. But the point is, we're doing community events like that where we're gonna be playing for money, big money. Also, there's a bunch of other stuff as well. So make sure to join the Discord at discord.gg/GI updates. Matter of fact, one of the perks that we have for joining the Discord is we give out shout outs. So I want to take some time to actually shout out some of the supporters on the podcast, names such as OG Grizzly, The Willie B, and I am J King J. So please consider joining the Discord, discord.gg/GI updates. You guys have any other sales pitch? I feel like I've been talking a lot here. Any cool perks that I didn't mention? There's really a lot, but I got to keep it short.
Look, we've been doing the watch parties. We literally just did our first watch party of Snowfall. Oh my God, this shit was lit. It was very fun watching. The NBA playoffs comes next week, people. We want to try to, watch some games, all right? We're going to try to watch some games. We got the fight coming up, the boxing fight coming up.
Versus Davis.
Yeah, so we're trying to do a whole bunch of watch parties. We want to do stuff like that, watch actual movies, watch anime. So whatever you all want to watch, we will do that together. So we just are going to plan. We actually have a calendar. Ethos set up the calendar that shows all of our events for April.
Matter of fact,
watch the video.
Yeah, if you want to see the calendar, it's an unlisted video because we only want to post a podcast here, but it is on the channel. If you want to see it, go to youtube.com/GI updates. And when you go to the page, it's the first video that pops up. That's the only way that you can see it. That's the way you can get the link, and it'll show you everything we're doing. Matter of fact, we're recording on the 8th. On the 15th, me and JG are supposed to play in a Call of Duty kind of dodgeball type of selection, like with the Discord. What exactly? We're gonna be picking people from the Discord and then playing against each other.
Correct. So we're going to be playing Knockout. So not Search and Destroy, but Knockout. I feel like that's a better game mode. So that should be fun.
There you go. So yeah, once again, thank you to Discord for sponsoring the show. And once again, it's free to join. You don't have to pick one of the paid tiers, although we would appreciate it because we're trying to, in order to keep doing these type of community events, we need y'all support. And if you want to join, discord.gg/GI updates. There will be a link in the description box below. Come join, which by the way, I feel like we don't stress it enough because we've been promoting it on our social medias. We also just be in there chatting and gaming too. It ain't just about like the perk. We be gaming in there too. So yeah, if you want to get some games in, join the Discord at discord.gg/GI updates. Freebies for the month of April 2023 on Xbox. You get Out of Space and Peaky Blinders. Never heard of any of that shit. Moving on to PlayStation, you're gonna get Meet Your Maker, which I've seen reviews. They're saying the game's pretty good. Sackboy's Big Adventure. I played that game. If you like platformers, good game. And then Tales of Iron. I don't know what that is. And then on PC, for the Epic Games Store, they are giving away free copies of Dying Light Enhanced Edition, which I think we all agreed we really like that game. And the Enhanced Edition comes with all the DLC. So if you have not played the original Dying Light, you can get it for free on PC on the Epic Games Store. Just search it up and you'll get it for free. So the first piece of the show before we actually get into the main conversations, new release dates, delays, and deletions. First of which, Spider-Man got kind of like a little release window. So this was a pretty interesting story. Spider-Man 2, by the way, let me to correct myself. So for Spider-Man 2, something funny happened. The voice actor for Venom, that's going to be one of the main villains in the game, he tweeted out, the tweet is deleted, so I'm going to have to paraphrase. It was something along the lines of, just got word that the game is going to come out in September, and you should start seeing trailers, like advertisements for Spider-Man 2, probably mid to late August. So after he put that tweet out, it went viral because Insomniac has not confirmed when this game is going to come out, even though it's supposed to come out this year. They also haven't shown much gameplay, but it sounds like there's going to be a media blitz starting in August because the voice actor for Venom said that. So after he put out that tweet, like a couple hours later, all the major publications picked it up and the tweet magically disappeared, and then he tweeted out himself. He tweeted out something again. He was like, false alarm. He's like, you guys didn't see anything, da-da-da-da. So I think that this is actually true. I think he got in trouble by Insomniac.
No.
Yeah, how y'all feeling about that? Do y'all think this is a good time to release it? Do you care? What?
I mean, it's September, so that's going to be literally like the start of Q4. So you can't really beat that. That's like literally right before like all the heavy hitters, because October is when like we really start seeing the AAA game, the major AAA game that we've been waiting on come out. So it sounds about right. I think that would be a good time for them to come out, because I mean it's highly anticipated anyways. I think honestly they could bring it out whenever they want to, but Q4 or literally right before it, that's fine. I think that's a good spot.
What's the name? What about you, Ethos?
Yeah, I was just Googling the release date because I was trying to figure out what else was coming out that month. The only thing I see of big renown is Starfield. I didn't even know it was coming out in September. I must have
get pushed back again.
That was after a delay, right?
That's what I thought.
It got pushed to September.
It got to September because I think it was supposed to be coming out in June or something like that, and then they delayed it again, and now it's September. So I think it's according to this thing. This thing could be wrong. It's telling me it's September. 4 months left. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a good time. As long as I hope they don't do the thing where it's like Starfield and Spider-Man both come out in the same week, because that's just going to be just too much stuff to do. But I hope
hold on. Hypothetically speaking, let's say they do come out in the same week. Which y'all playing?
Spider-Man 2 for me.
Which, by the way, while you get that thought together, since you already said it was on the notes, Starfield did get delayed till September 6th. I got it on the screen, but go ahead.
There you go. All right. I guess if the reviews are good for Starfield, I think I might play Starfield first. If it's like the reviews pretty high and people are just like, yeah, this is like the best game Bethesda's done since Skyrim, then I'll probably play Starfield first, and I'll play Spider-Man later. But if Bethesda's it up and messes it up, then I'll probably play Spider-Man instead.
I think I would want to play Spider-Man first, just because I know that game is going to end. Once they came out and they said there's going to be over 1,000 explorable planets in Starfield, it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. And it's like, if I'm going to put together like a review, I want to kind of spend the proper amount of time with that game. So I think I'd be able to run through Spider-Man a little bit easier, and then really take my time with Starfield. So it's more like just being able to collect my thoughts, because I feel like that's one of those games where like you got to get it really right with the Bethesda fanboys out there. But September, and it's rough too, because also in September, that's usually around the time 2K comes out. So it's like, how am I gonna grind my player? You feel me? That's what I'm just trying to figure out.
All right, here we go again, bro. Under the shackles, man. The 2K shackles. We gotta get
this man under the floorboards, bro. You are literally under the floorboards. I don't think you can be saved.
Listen, I'm a ball
look at you.
I'm a ball till I fall.
You already fell. You fell already. You fell. You already know. You definitely like one of the motherfuckers that broke the ankle, broke the ACL, and be like, oh well, back in the day, I was going to go to the NBA. But,
I was JV.
I was JV. I was on varsity, bro. Boy, I tore my ACL.
Yeah. Joke's on you, Ethos. I've been 5'5" since like the 9th grade, so I was never going to.
Oh, you're never good. Got it.
Yeah, we wear a pick, my boy. We wear a pick.
Like I said,
in middle school, I took a look at my dad. And I said, you're about 5'9". I was like, I don't think I'm going to be that tall. I probably should be excelling something else because I don't think basketball is going to be for me. And I was okay with that. I accepted that. I think more of y'all need to do that. And
living your basketball dream.
Yeah.
Are you saying that people play 2K just because they want to be tall?
Oh yeah,
they pretend to be tall, not to go to the event.
Not necessarily tall. It's a multitude of reasons. It's to live out a fantasy period. I think a lot of people play 2K because it is a lot of people that was varsity that tore their ACL, so they never made it to the league, so they play the game. But then you also got a lot of people that just want to be black, so they make black characters, and they get to live out their dream of being a black person. It's a multitude of different dreams, I think, and then there's just some people that just like basketball. It's not that deep, but there are some weirdos out there. I think
I agree. Say they're like black people, like black.
Because that has. If you go on YouTube, you'll find tutorials. Make a Mikey Williams drippy light skin build, and then be like white folks on that shit. I'm like, yeah, like this is kind of
that's so weird, bro.
This shit is weird.
But it's funny because you actually can make it to the league now. Like it wouldn't be the NBA, but you can make it to a 2K league.
There you go. To the content creator league. That's where Julian Newman is playing. I
do nothing.
Oh Lord, Julian Newman,
the GOAT. What's the name? Other stories we got for the release dates. You're a big fan of Dead Space. You played the remake, Ethos. EA says they are willing. I guess they're sending out a survey to people, and they're saying, hey, we see that you guys like Dead Space. Do you want to see a remake of Dead Space 2 and 3? The response has been very positive, so things are hinting at that we're probably going to get more remakes from EA on the Dead Space front. How you feeling about that, Ethos, since you beat the game?
Absolutely. I'm not like certain other people in this area that would not want to see any more remakes anymore. I'm all for it. I want Dead Space 2. I'm kind of interested from a developer perspective. I love it when like there's going to be those situations where they have to remake like an arguably was considered a very like bad or controversial game, like a very mid type of game, and they have to like remake it. We were just talking about that with Resident Evil with RE6. So like those type of games are really fascinating because it's like, I would love to be like a fly on the wall to figure out like who makes the call on like, do we just scrap everything from the very beginning? Do we act like the previous version of it never existed? Do we just redo the entire story? Do we keep the same story and just change the gameplay? Like, what do we do with a game that like was received very poorly? Like, or do we even just like remake it at all? Do we just act like it doesn't exist anymore? So yeah, I'm totally on board for Dead Space 2, and I want to see a Dead Space 3 because that original one was terrible.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how they would change it, like, because that game was a straight up action game. So it's like they would have to rework. Oh yeah, it was. They would have to rework
microtransaction for guns. Remember that? You had to pay money. You could pay money to get the weapon attachments for the guns. And stuff.
My thing is though, in the co-op too. My thing is like if they do that. Are we entering a phase? Because like it's like a joke in comic books where like characters die and they come back, so then like they call it retconning. Are we entering a phase where we're retconning video games where like the original one doesn't exist and then like we're just making something completely different?
Yeah, I think they should do it. I think there's probably a list of games out there where it's just like, I felt like the game, maybe if they took another crack at it, Anthem, if they took another crack at it, it could have been something really good. So yeah, I think sometimes you should give it a shot if you can pull it off. So. Yeah.
I was just joking about Anthem the other day on stream because I was talking about how like fickle YouTubers are, in a sense that like everybody hated that game and they like to hate a lot of different things, but then like 5-10 years later, videos come out like, oh, was Anthem that bad? I'm calling it like in 5 years you're gonna start seeing videos like that. Was Anthem that bad? And it's gonna be like 30-minute fucking video essays.
They did it to Cyberpunk. I called that shit day one. They less than 2 years and they did exactly that cycle. Or was actually a masterpiece. It was always a good game.
Which is funny because it becomes an argument of like a lot of people like don't trust mainstream media like IGN and GameSpot, but then you got content creators who are constantly contradicting themselves and changing their opinions. Like, can we trust them too? Because we're starting to see a lot of that.
I mean, that's just growth stuff, right? Like, I mean, I think we've all at one point even on this podcast, as all of us personally have like either like, oh, we can just talk about Dark Souls games. Like, let me pull up a clip from like either of you from like years ago, and it was I swear, like JG, Jesus Christ, I would never touch a Dark Souls game. That shit's for masochists. Now, like he's cracked. He's like, I gotta get another one. I gotta get this one. I'm gonna play this one. I'm playing like,
it makes sense.
Never would have given it a shot. Like,
it makes sense why JG likes Dark Souls, because it is a game about patience and learning the enemies and whatnot, which takes patience. And the thing is, like, he's a father now, so like he's learned to calm down. Because remember when we first met him, he was Xbox Fly's avatar. This man was really running the streets, bro, hitting the nay and shit like that on stream. This man has calmed down. He's a dad now, so he's a little bit more patient and a little bit more understanding. And I think that's why his gaming tastes have evolved. It's mature.
Hey man, your correlation. I'm not even going to argue that. That was great, bro. You're out there. This man don't miss.
That's why they put me in the tier list. Some sad news in terms of shutdowns. The studio behind Forspoken, they shut down Luminous Productions. Forspoken was such a flop that Square Enix shut them down. Bittersweet. The good news is, though, that they didn't lose their jobs. So what happens is Square Enix decided to take the people behind Luminous Studios and they absorbed them into other teams. So they're going to be working on other Square Enix projects. It's just Luminous as a team as a whole doesn't exist anymore. And like their last little hurrahs, they will be putting out their one piece of DLC that was supposed to be scheduled to come out in May, I believe. And then after that, you will never see any other Forspoken content. If you were expecting a Forspoken 2, don't expect it. Does this guys make you guys sad that, you know, Luminous got shut down because of the failure of Forspoken?
No, but I mean, I guess it doesn't matter because this was the only game that they made, and apparently they were a studio until 2018. So they were just working on this, and it didn't end up working out how they thought it was going to work out. But Square Enix still wanted to keep them. Then I guess they're at least decent enough to still, you know, use whatever talent that they had at their studio to continue working on other games within the Square Enix umbrella. So I mean, it sucks for all the Forspoken fans who just swear up and down that the game was amazing. Like, they're still out there, still trying to chant and, you know, compare this game to Hogwarts, which came out. Like, they're still doing that, but it's like, you got to just face the facts. Like, the game just wasn't a critical success. And that's okay. At least they didn't lose their jobs.
Any take on that, Ethos?
Nope. I agree.
Fair enough. The Wolf Among Us 2 got delayed since the last show. It got pushed back to 2024. Reason being is Telltale said that they...
When are you going to play it?
Shut the fuck up, bro.
How about that? No, how about...
You're going to play it when
No. When are you going to stream it, bro? You said you was going to stream that last year. Then you said you're going to stream it this year. When are you going to stream it, dog?
Damn.
Nah.
Now, I want the comment section to back me up, because it was either the last episode, or it was one of the previous. It was a recent episode. I literally said I will play the game when this gets near the release date. Okay, that way it's fresh in my head and I can go straight. Into the
I want
sequel.
You to suffer like the rest of us. I don't want you to be.
Now we're moving the goalposts. Now we're moving the goalposts.
Me and JG suffered years. No, I want you to suffer.
The politician. No, thank you. You didn't even let me finish reading the damn article.
I don't care.
I was gonna say you don't care about tech crunch and the business developer crunch. You're a developer. What a fucking fraud.
All over myself.
So that's what. I crushed myself. So, anyways, the story. So they said they're pushing it back to 2024 because I guess they came to the consensus that they're not going to be able to make the 2023 release date without making their developers crunch. For those unaware, developer crunch is when basically they work crazy overtime, and they said they wanted to treat their employees a little bit better, and that's the reason why they're pushing it back to 2024.
How dare they treat their employees like human beings? That's all right. Give me my game now.
So just be aware that it's not coming out until 2024, and it is what it is. But I will play it. I will play it one day.
I guarantee it's gonna be one of your favorite games of all time. I guarantee it.
You think it's gonna be one of my favorite games of all time?
I guarantee you it's gonna be one of your favorite.
You want to bet on that?
Games. Ooh, what do you want? I mean, I don't feel like I should bet with the person that could just go in and be like, I hate this. I guarantee you, like, story-wise, you'll love the character. Like, 100%. He reminds me a lot of you. He reminds me a lot of you. I'll put it that way. I think JJ will agree. Reminds me a lot of you in certain areas, yeah.
At least they're, one good thing, they're going from UE4 to UE5, so at least they have the time to switch over.
True. Probably should be improved visuals.
The game looked good when they showed it. They showed it earlier last year, or was it earlier this year?
I think
they showed
last year.
They showed some upgrade of it. It looked good when they had that little preview of it. So I was like, keep up the good work.
Freaking Call of Duty. There wasn't supposed to be one that was coming out after Modern Warfare 2. They said they were going to take like a year break, but that's a lie. So the gist of this article is they were going to release some DLC, and I guess Activision was feeling themselves so much that they decided to turn it into a full-blown game. So expect another Call of Duty. You guys surprised to see another Call of Duty? No, nobody's surprised to see another.
We talk about how Sony's been crying this whole month.
Oh my god!
Oh, go ahead, break it down for the people, bro.
Yo, I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I was a fanboy and I was in the Sony camp, I'm not gonna lie, I'd be kind of embarrassed. What's his name? Jim Ryan is just kind of embarrassing himself and embarrassing their entire company. He's just like crying constantly after basically it looks like it's just going to go through. There's been more movement and a lot of more people have like originally, I forgot the organization. I think they're in the UK, the regulatory group for the UK. Originally it was sounding like, there was people there in that area that were just like, we're going to fight back against this. This seems anti-consumer. And then they changed their minds and was like, actually, after, Phil Spencer went over there and a bunch of other people and they got more an understanding of what was happening. Then they were like, no, we think this is fine. And then Jim Ryan started to complain. And then he made a statement and said, if we lose Call of Duty, they said PlayStation would actually would fall apart. That's literally what he said. He said the business would fall apart, that they would not survive if they lost Call of Duty. And that they were convinced that Microsoft was going to give them an inferior game, even though that's literally what Sony's been doing to Call of Duty for Microsoft for the past X amount of years, since they got their marketing, special deals. And they've done it already with a bunch of other games too. So, hey, when's Final Fantasy VII getting on Xbox? That's a good question they should maybe ask Jim Ryan. Oh, and then on top of that, then they had the audacity, the nerve. Oh, this is the hilarious part. This is where he sold. So the Sony basically tried to lobby U.S. Congress, like certain senators in U.S. Congress. They tried to lobby in our government basically to help them. And this is a foreign company, mind you. Like it's a Japanese company. And actually, some senators were like, "Wait a minute, you're telling me that there's a good that exists between our countries that is traded that is basically being limited from American citizens, that like only certain citizens on your platform, basically on your platform can only get and everyone can't get." And they're like, well, yeah. And they were like, doesn't that break like our trade agreement with Japan? And they're like, yeah, we need to investigate this. So now like Sony just kind of screwed themselves further because now the US government's investigating it. And if it breaks apparently some sort of trade reason, I don't know, I have to read into it, but if it broke some trade agreement, they could potentially have some problems in the future, which might be interesting for the gaming industry in the future if it actually broke some sort of trading agreement between Japan and America. So that'd be pretty hilarious.
Making the claim that Sony saying that their business model can't survive without Call of Duty is a bold claim, because I low-key feel like that's a slap in the face of God of War, as well as any other like exclusive that's like on the platform. Like,
Last of Us, even Uncharted, like regardless of where you hate it, it's so well. Games, like people like it.
These games have been in the top 10 and you're just basically just shitting on me. Like they're irrelevant. They don't matter compared to Call of Duty. Like it sounds like Jim Ryan would be like, if I could sacrifice all our exclusives just so we got Call of Duty exclusively, he would do it in a heartbeat. And it's like, damn, that's kind of insane and kind of really insulting, especially if you work on one of these games. And then the worst part I think that's been really jacked up is I'm trying to remember what specifically he was concerned about. Like he's been this is the other thing I forgot. So recently there's been more leaked documents through like litigation and stuff that Microsoft's gotten their hands on legally, and other people that have revealed that Sony's basically for the past like decade, the reason why they've been getting a lot of those exclusive games last generation was that they were basically not manipulating, but they were signing deals that specifically was making sure that like these games would never end up on an Xbox console. And I think the biggest one that everyone knows is why Final Fantasy VII has never hit the Xbox is it's because of Sony. And a lot of these rumors were like, people thought it was like, how like years ago people were saying, oh, it's because the Xbox is trash. It's a trash console. It's terrible to develop for. Now we find out that actually it was Sony was the reason why a lot of these games were like Street Fighter V, right? That got locked and hidden away and never saw Xbox for like years. And a lot of other games that throughout that like last generation and even now that are just like that they're locking them into these these contracts that say, hey, we want to have exclusive rights, and they're not timed rights. They're more of like, we get you exclusively for like a year or two, and then at the end of this, you can't just like say I'm done and go somewhere else. You still have to negotiate with us, and if we pay it again or pay you more, you have to keep it locked. So they just keep doing this year after year after year. So it's been pretty jacked up.
Sounds pretty scummy, man.
I wasn't even going to dig that deep. I was just going to call cap on the fact that Sony said that, because I was going to say I was looking at it from the perspective of they were preying on the ignorance of the U.S. government not knowing about gaming, because you can say, oh, we need Call of Duty in order to survive, because those old farts. I mean, they literally called during. Did y'all watch any of the TikTok hearing?
That was embarrassing.
They called one of the congressmen called it Tic Tac. It's like, I know they don't know about no damn video games. So I thought they were just gonna try to prey on their ignorance and say, oh, we need Call of Duty. Because if you have a half a brain and you do any type of research, all you got to do is look. Like the HBO has the Last of Us TV show. You have to sell, a game has to sell well in order to get a TV show. It has to have that type of influence. So that shit is cap. I think they're just preying on the ignorance of these old farts not knowing any better about gaming and hoping the government comes to their side because they see that they're a big power player in the economy, and right now our economy could use all the help that it could get. But
yeah, so it's just more crying at this point, because like what we just said, like I refuse to believe that Call of Duty, like if they no longer had any rights to that it would just topple their entire gaming division. That literally does not make any sense. Like, how much money are they getting for Call of Duty? Like, how much money were they locked into? Did they even get into those numbers? Like, how much money did they make just from having exclusive rights for Call of Duty for, what was it, a month, 2 months?
Sony gave them more. Sony exclusively did a contract with Activision and said that like they were giving Activision more money each time a person. So if you went on your PlayStation and bought Call of Duty, right? Usually the publisher would take a cut of that money out of the $80-$70, right? And they would keep that, right? So there'd be a percentage. You'd never get the full like $70. It'd be more like you'd get your hands on $50, right? So in order for them to get deals and stuff like that, they would cut Activision and basically like, hey, we'll give you instead of getting like 70% of that money, we'll give you 83%. So, and it would be a better deal than like what was on Xbox, whatever it is. But in return, you got to make sure your co-op mode is exclusively on PlayStation for a year, 2 years, and they can't touch it. And as you know from the past couple of like Call of Duties, they did it. Like they constantly did it over and over again.
Yeah, the modes, exclusive skins, stuff like that, exclusive guns,
bacon skin.
Yeah, the bacon skins and stuff. Yeah,
that's mad scummy.
It's been pretty scummy, and I know some people are thinking like, I think there's definitely an argument to be had about a monopoly, and in regards to like if Microsoft does gain this, like how does that affect workers and workers' rights and that sort of stuff. I think that's a very valid argument that people should definitely have a conversation about. But obviously, you shouldn't be relying on another corporation to think they're going to be the ones that are going to bring that up, because it's kind of like slinging shit onto another in someone else's backyard when you have shit in your own backyard. And I think Sony just doesn't want that to become the conversation, because then Sony probably has its own issues with that when it comes to workers' rights. So I don't, it's kind of like they're kind of screwed. Me personally, from what I've seen, I don't see any way at this point that like Activision is not going to end up with Microsoft after what's happened these past 2 weeks. I think it's pretty much in the bag now.
I've always thought of Call of Duty as more of an Xbox game anyway.
Yeah, I did too.
I don't really playing on that damn PlayStation controller. I don't know, man. I've never met any serious players on PlayStation. They're
not good.
They're probably in the comment section right now. They're probably.
I hate their controller. I don't think it's a good FPS controller at all.
It's okay for always have a better one. Like action adventure games, but shooters, it's fucking atrocious.
Yep,
I agree.
But it is what it is. Moving on to the leading conversations. We've been talking a lot, and we haven't even gotten to the meat and potatoes of the thing. First things first, since the last podcast, one of the biggest games of the year released. I am talking about Team Ninja's Long Fallen Dynasty. This is the game from the same makers of Ninja Gaiden as well as Neo 1 and 2. It is an action-adventure game that takes place in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which is a group of novels most famously made famously through Dynasty Warriors. So you're going to see a lot of characters that you might be familiar with, such as Cao Cao, Liu Bei, Lu Bu, which is like one of the big bosses in it. And this game was getting a lot of hype because it's only Game Pass, so a lot of people had access to it. But also, like, it's Team Ninja. It's a Souls-like type of game. Very fast-paced, Chinese culture. I finished the game. JG finished the game. I know Ethos played it a little bit. I'll take this one. I beat this game, and I will say that this is my favorite game of the year. I'm not saying so far. We're still only like halfway through the year, but I would say this is my favorite game of the year so far. just a lot of things to like about it. First of all, I'm tired of freaking open world games. This is a semi-open world game. It has level design. There's 7 levels in the game, and each level is fairly large, and it gives you just enough wiggle room. So if you want to explore, you can do that. And it has this unique mechanic system called the morale system, where the higher your morale is, the more damage you do. And the way you boost your morale is by killing enemies, and then there are flags that are hidden all throughout the map. So what happens is, since those flags are hidden, it encourages you to explore and also fight and get familiar with the lay of the land and the different enemy types. There's several different like martial arts styles and moves and like weapons. And then there's co-op, which I thought was fire. And the co-op is crossplay, except for on the Steam. But if you're on the if you're not on the Steam version, the other PC version, you can play with people on Xbox, because it all goes through the Xbox. I really love how fast-paced this game is. The parry system in this game, you hit circle or B on the Xbox controller, and you'll do a parry move, and then you can pretty much like block and like punish people. When you master it, it's so smooth. There's like magic in this game too, but you really don't have to use any of it. I was just sitting in the pocket countering, and it was just fun to play with friends. Very fast paced, very satisfying to get kills. I think my one critique with this game is I would say that I felt like later in the game some of the level design was not the best. I thought that the earlier levels had better flows to them, and then also I feel like there could have been more enemy types. Once you're about halfway through the game, you've seen almost every enemy, and you start to learn how to fight them, and you pick up their patterns, and just to kind of introduce new kind of challenges, I think they should add more enemies in the game, which I think is possible. Oh yeah, the story is, well, nobody's playing it for the story, but the story is not very good either. But in terms of just straight up action fun that felt satisfying and rewarding to play, this is my favorite game so far of the year. That fight with Lubu was stressful, but I soloed him. I didn't have to call co-op. Jay, how you feeling about Wulong?
I definitely enjoyed the game. I ended up taking the time, and I mentioned earlier, to finish this game compared to trying to finish Hogwarts or some of the other games that came out between February and March. So I definitely enjoyed it in that aspect. I agree with you on a lot of aspects. The story is kind of so-so, but again, I enjoyed it because I played the previous Dynasty Warriors game, so I understood it. But you know, they just had some cheesy stuff. The elixir, like that was their thing here. The elixir. So I wasn't really paying attention to the story. The dialogue was, you know, the English dialogue was pretty just so-so. It was funny, but I enjoyed the customization here. They had a lot of the weapons. A lot of stuff got regurgitated for an armor and the other type of stuff, but once you found like the level 4 and level 5 type of stuff, and once you found like the unique weapons that, you know, almost all the characters who you have running with you, once you get those, they have like unique special moves that you can do. So once you actually start getting into those, finding those type of weapons, and once you start understanding the weapon sets that they have and like everything that you can do with those aspects, it takes a little bit to get used to, but once you actually understand that, then it becomes a much enjoyable experience. The one thing that I did not like, well, first of all, the graphics were just kind of so-so, but that wasn't it. What I didn't like is I felt like it's not trying to be a bragging point, but I felt like the game was a little bit too easy compared to games like Elden Ring and Nioh and the previous Dark Souls. Even Sekiro was difficult. I really got to a point where after we all beat it, I'm like, wait a minute, something's wrong, because nobody really struggled in this game out of GI. We only struggled with really one boss, and that was Lubu. And a lot of people, and this is outside of GI, a lot of people struggled with the very first boss that you ran into in the game, because that was a crazy skill check. I agree with that, because they had 2 phases in there. So that was a crazy skill check. There were a lot of people in the chat saying, I didn't want to play this game anymore because I couldn't beat the first boss. All right, understandable, but also I want to say get good, because once you got past that, the game became way easier, bro. The game became way easier. I also want to say another thing, and this is for the people that played the very first beta for this game. They changed this game up. The parry system was not like the parry system in the retail version. It was actually a lot more difficult to actually parry, and the magic wasn't in there either like that. So they added some things that I felt like made this game easier. Now, did they make that easier because they wanted more people to play it? Maybe, but I feel like we did not struggle in this game compared to the struggle that we had in Elden Ring, the struggle that we had in Sekiro. I mean, this man took 16 hours on one boss. Ace took 14 hours on one boss in another game. Did we struggle in this one? I don't think anybody took more than 2 hours on anybody. It was really just the first phase of Lubu. So I'm just in there like, dang, I was kind of disappointed.
So JG, you saying Mickey Mouse Championship? That's what you're saying.
Yeah, man, Mickey Mouse.
You're saying Mickey Mouse Championship.
It definitely is an easier version of the formula. What I will say is like I see a lot of people trying to say that it's bad because of it. Like I would say it's a gateway drug. It's still a good game, but yeah, it's definitely easier. But then it's weird. You get a lot of people that said it was too easy, but then I had a lot of people in my chat that was like, how are you parrying so good? I think the game is easy if you have good reflexes, like the parrying system. You really don't need to use the magic. If you can fight in the pocket with that parry system, you'll be fine. But if you can't master that, I did see some people struggling when I was streaming the game. They were like, yeah, I don't know how the fuck you're doing that shit just blind. I was like, I don't know, like, just practice, get good. I don't know.
So JG, you know what that means, right? At the end of this month, I expect you to have that new Star Wars game on the max difficulty. Then.
Oh God,
that's what I'm hearing. It's not to me that you need a little challenge. So I expect to see that. I expect to see that trophy. That says that you beat the game of the highest difficulty.
Can I say that this month we're actually giving away a copy of Star Wars Jedi?
I was just going to translate.
Jedi Survivor. Yeah, the new Jedi Survivor game. We're actually giving it away for people who are in the Discord. So just another reason to join the Discord at discord.gg/GI updates if you want to win a copy. But go ahead, my bad. Finish what you said.
Well, that was it. No, we just
I agree with you, TBH. The game definitely was not bad. I definitely had a lot of fun with this, especially once I got up there and we started getting to like part 5, part 6. I was like, okay, like we're really getting into the flow of things. Like I understand. I feel like I have mastered the game to a point where I'm not struggling anymore. It just really got to a point where I was like, okay, when is the game going to end? Because I'm like, where's the end at? It just kind of started dragging just a little bit, but overall, I thought it was a really good game, and I would say it's my favorite so far as well.
The game just did a good job making me feel like a badass, and to me, that's what I play games for. Going to what you was talking about with the playing on the hardest difficulty with the Jedi Survivor thing, I feel like I could handle it, but like I want to play that game on normal, my first playthrough, which will probably be my only one because these days I don't play too many games back. You don't have the time. But like, just because like I feel like the story is just as important. You
really want to hear Siggy for the next week and a half talking about you're bad. You couldn't beat the game on the hardest difficulty I was able to do. You ready to have that
by any African Americans?
You ready to deal with that? It's not even that. So you ready to hear bring it up for the next week and a half? Well, man, look at the higher difficulty. So
look at what this guy is talking about though with Will Long, right? He's like, I 100% at the game. I'm like, bro, I'm not 100% in that game, dude. I'm like, you just now started playing a lot of games. Siggy was not playing as many games as we were back in the past. As soon as he got on Elden Ring, now he wants to go back and play all the Dark Souls games. Now he wanted to play Sekiro.
Siggy's become a gaming snob now.
Yeah, now he's a gaming snob. I'm talking about I'm the Elder Lord. I'm like, all right, Siggy, you're like, you went in the trenches, bro. A couple years ago when they was accusing me of using Google and I couldn't be Sekiro. You went there, bro. Like you was sitting there, you and Flock played the game for an hour and y'all put it down, bro. Yeah, I'm like, nah, y'all were chat niggas back then.
That man Flock booted up the game. He said he was on it for like 30 minutes and he quit. I was like, if he didn't like this game, he ain't gonna like none of them type of games. But I was like, because this is like the easiest. Like, it might not be.
Somehow we got Siggy, but Flock is stubborn, bro. He don't want to play it. Like he's like, I'm done. I'm not even gonna try.
I'm surprised Nomad don't be playing games like this because it's all about killing stuff and he's good at that. So like, I don't really get it. I don't really get it.
I feel like at this point, I feel like GI has like a bingo sheet with us now, and I definitely know like that's a spot on the bingo sheet for us. It's just like Nomad killing something. It's like that's all the bingo shit. Like he kills a game or he kills something else. And you bring that up every podcast. It's always one time.
Somebody's got to do it, man. Someone's got to do it. I know you didn't finish the game, but you played it a little bit. Do you have any thoughts on Wulong Ethos?
I beat like 4 bosses. I think that's as far as I got. I just put it down because I just wasn't it wasn't bad. You just playing a game. You're just like, I don't feel like playing this right now. So that's why I kind of just put it on hold. I think it was good. I thought it was cool from what I played. Some of the stuff I kind of was like, the co-op was better than Elden Ring. That was nice. It actually worked. That was actually a nice change of pace. It actually just worked off rip. But I'll be honest with you. I think it's just because I played Neo. That's kind of why I was kind of like, eh. It reminds me a lot of Neo. It feels like Neo just in Chinese, but using Chinese culture and background and setting. But it reminds me a lot like similar type of systems than Neo. Like you have a character, you can customize their armor, you can customize their sword. Similar type of boss stuff, different elements, that sort of stuff. So maybe that might have been why I took a break from it, because I was like, this reminds me a lot of Neo, which I don't think JJ you've played yet. You should get.
Yeah, because that was back in my phase where I would just like F all the Dark Souls games. I remember I tried the demo for Neo, and I was like, oh, this is like Dark Souls. I'm not playing it.
Yeah, you should try Neo too. You don't have to play it.
Yeah, I said I might go back now. Yeah, I might go back and play it now.
That's probably why now I think about it.
The good news is there's no commitment for the game. If you guys have Game Pass, it's available on Game Pass for PC and Xbox. So I mean, it's free for a lot of people. But yeah, Wulong, check it out if you're looking for a good action adventure game that you can play with your friends. They'll give you a little bit of a challenge, but not too much. Moving on to the next topic. Since last podcast, there was a closed and an open beta for Diablo IV, which is obviously the fourth game in the beloved dungeon crawler series from Activision Blizzard, the company that everybody swears they hate, but they continue to support with Overwatch 2 and now Diablo 4. We got some hands-on time with the Diablo 4 beta. Admittedly, like I've only ever played it like a little bit, so I can't really speak on like what's new. I can only speak on how I feel about it. So I was gonna kind of defer to y'all and ask, do y'all know what exactly is supposed to be like the new kind of killer feature in Diablo 4?
I don't know.
It's better than Diablo 3.
You can like
That's the only thing I know. Well, don't get me wrong. I know when that game launches, it's going to crash. Every Blizzard game for the past decade has done that. I don't think there's ever been a day one where it just works. But I mean, from the feedback of people who like are sweats and played it for years, like all the Diablo games, they tell me it's night and day better than Diablo 3. So I guess that's why people are excited about it. I don't know. I've never been that into it. I played Diablo 2, but I skipped over 3 because all the reviews and the auction house and a bunch of just bad stuff that happened at launch with the game, so I skipped it. So
yeah, I played a lot of Torchlight 1 and 2, which is like Diablo because it's a dungeon crawler. I think I like the art style more than Diablo. The game doesn't take itself as seriously, so I couldn't tell you like what's different. All I can tell you is like we played the beta and it was really fun. Like I had tweeted out, I was like, man, I'm itching to play Diablo 4 again. Like once the beta comes back. It's I feel like it's a good game where you can just kind of turn your brain off and shoot the shit with your boys. But then like once we got to the boss fights in the beta, you did have to turn back on. It was like that good balance. It's a good stream game where like when you're just grinding, you can just talk to the boys, talk to the chat, have fun. Like it's a very it felt very therapeutic to play, just beating shit up, bruh. And then when we got to the boss fights, we had to coordinate. So like I felt like it was just enough challenge there because I was actually getting downed a couple times when we got to the boss fights. And I think what actually impressed me the most is the story elements. You get a full-blown cutscene at the beginning of the beta, and it was gorgeous. It really set up the world, and I'm like, oh, and then everything was like voice acted in there too. And the skill tree was crazy. Did y'all get a chance to look at the skill tree in the beta or the different characters?
Yep, not all of them. I just played the one I had. I thought it looked pretty good.
Yeah. I uploaded a video on my personal YouTube, and like a couple people I seen them left comments. They was like, whoa, I didn't even realize the skill tree is that big. If you played the beta and you took I don't know, I was playing on mouse and keyboard. If you took the mouse and you dragged it to like the left and the right, the skill tree kept going. It was fucking huge. So I think a lot of people might have missed that, how much depth it is. How do y'all feel about the balance of the characters? I've seen a lot of people talking about like the Necromancer was broken. I didn't play that one. I played the Druid.
I played the Necromancer, and I mean the fact that he can just get a skeleton army and like he can go even worse because Nomad, like we're just talking about him, he jammed the beta like heavy, and he also played the Necromancer. So I don't know about the other characters because I didn't really see them. I only played like a few hours with the Necro, but I can see how people would say like the Necromancer is like one of the most OP classes you could pick.
Didn't Nomad play a lot of what was that, Outriders?
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
he liked them grindy, mindless games. Now that I'm thinking about it, bro.
He likes a lot of grinding games.
Yeah, that's his bag. Yeah, he likes MMOs. He likes all that type of
crawlers, that sort of stuff, MMO type stuff.
Gotcha. What about you though, Ethos? How do you feel about the game?
Yeah, I mean, I'll play it probably if there's nothing else to play at whenever it launches. I don't know when the launch date is. It in June?
June, yeah. What comes out in June is Street Fighter 6 and then this.
Oh, I'm Asset Fighter, so I guess I'm playing Diablo. There it is.
Wait, I thought you was the greatest to ever touch the sticks in Dead or Alive.
Oh, I beat you. Yeah, I'm definitely better.
I've never played you in that game. If you keep pushing that narrative.
Yes, we did.
I remember. Dead or Alive. I remember. Okay, hypothetically speaking, if you did beat me, which I honestly, God, I'm not even trying to be funny. I don't remember.
Sure. I can remind you.
The reason I don't remember is because I don't play Dead or Alive. Get on Street Fighter. Get on Tekken.
I know. You said you were good at any fighting game. You could beat me. And I was like, well, I'm actually. I told you myself. I was like, I was like good at.
That was a Nomad?
No, it was definitely you because this is a long time ago. So it was like 2014. It was Dead or Alive 5, I think, was out, and I said that you were asking me I was like, no, I'm ass at like Smash Bros. I'm not good at fighting games. The only games I was decent at was Tekken. I was decent at Tekken back on the PlayStation 1, and then I was really good at Dead or Alive. I played a lot of that in the Xbox 360 era, and then you were like, wait, like Dead or Alive? It's like you were like the one with the titty physics. I was like, yeah. I played it pretty good. There was like 2 chicks in there that I was like really decent with. It was like, nah, I probably beat you at it. I was like, okay, let's play it. And we tried to play it, but you didn't have it. So we were testing out. NVIDIA had that. This is the thing. NVIDIA had this share feature. There was like a share feature thing that you could have somebody like connect to your computer and they could play the same game. So we were testing it. So we played Dead or Alive, and I beat you the whole set twice.
Hey, I was like, he was pretty descriptive with that,
because
bro.
It was fun.
Because he's very descriptive. I'm not even gonna say you're lying. I'm not trying to be. I dead ass.
That's how you know. That's how you know I'm not lying, because I'm being very descriptive. That means there's no way I could be descriptive if I'm lying.
That doesn't count. Get on Soul Calibur. Get on Tekken.
That was why. That was like you told. That's what you told me. You said I'll beat you at Soul Calibur. I was like, I don't know about that either. And you didn't never play Steve
Fox. Bop him side the head.
That's exactly what you said last time too.
Exactly. That's who I play. That's who I play.
Maybe I'll play Tekken. I'll probably play Tekken this time. I'll probably take Tekken. I might give Street Fighter a shot. I've never.
That's easy community stuff. Yeah, I want to run some lobbies like Tekken and Street Fighter.
Yeah, we gotta. I'll try playing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get some people to train me because I haven't played a Street Fighter game since arcade, like in a literal physical arcade. I've never played like I went on an actual home console. So yeah, probably washed.
Day one pickup for you, Diablo 4, JG.
Actually, yeah. And it wasn't at first. Like, I didn't care about Diablo 4 at all. Yeah, just like Ethos, the last one I played with Diablo 2. And I think I played like a demo or something at first. And I was like, okay, this is kind of cool, but it wasn't something that I'm into. Like, dungeon crawlers aren't really my thing. The grind, sometimes get a little crazy. Completed skip Diablo 3. Decided to give this a try because I saw like you all going googly over it, mainly Nomad again. Because I was like, why are you playing this demo so much? Why are you playing this beta so much? And so I was like, all right, let me go ahead and try it because, we wanted to talk about it as well. And I was like, you know what? I actually kind of like this. Like, it was actually kind of fun going around to different areas. And just like you said, TBH, it was kind of just like mindless grinding until you get to, the bosses that really make you have to think about it and dodge and stuff. So it was cool. The co-op at least worked for trying to get people in there, even though you just have to really wait to get in the queue because a lot of people were trying to play during the open beta. So totally understandable, but it was cool. It was cool. This is actually something that, especially if it's coming down in June, because that's going to be summertime. I don't think really too much is coming out. So yeah, I think I'll hop on it. I'll get in. We can run it.
Yeah, I'm in the same ballpark as you. I did not care about this game at all. And then the beta was open. I was like, all right, well, we'll try it. I had a lot of fun with it. I was like, all right, I could cop this. And then Street Fighter comes out the same month. I'm like, you could play both of these games at the same time. Street Fighter's not like a super commitment. I'm just trying to get good enough to beat Nomad. Y'all know the storyline. But other than that, like, I'm not going to be like in the lab like that. So I was like, yeah, I'll play Diablo. And then on top of that, like, it's a dungeon crawler. So it sort of is a commitment. But at the same time, it's not really a commitment. Because like of the scaling, like you can just, if it's like a game I can just get on and play when I want to, but like I don't have to be on that goddamn game all the time, which I feel is the case with a lot of these games. Like you got to really commit your time. So yeah, I'll be picking it up in June. I'm looking forward to it. Let's talk about something that complete. We were just talking about something that wasn't out. Let's talk about something that completed. Season 1 of The Last of Us. HBO's live action adaptation of season 1 is complete. And we also got some news on season 2, but first let's kind of share our thoughts. I know me and JG have both completed the show, and I think Ethos is like towards the end, so I think me and JG can give kind of like a definitive opinion, and Ethos, you can chime in. How are you feeling about The Last of Us season 1, the TV show, Jay?
I thought it was damn near perfect, to be honest. And that's hard to say about like any series, let alone a series that's based off of a video game. Like, I really didn't see any moments where I was like, oh, what the heck? Like, I know that everybody pointed out that one scene where like you saw the people who were like in the snow part. I forgot which episode that was. Like when you saw the actual people, the camera crew, like in one part, and people were comparing that to Game of Thrones. But like, I feel like that was the only like quote unquote like mishap or misstep in The Last of Us season 1. Like, I actually enjoyed it from beginning to end.
That's not even a big deal because like that's a simple editing mistake that they can fix, and then because of these streaming services, they just upload a new episode, a new cut. Basically, that's not even a big deal. Like, that's just social media being social media. And I'm gonna be honest, did you see that shit during the show?
No, I only saw it when somebody pointed it out.
Yeah,
I literally only saw it when someone pointed it out. But Pedro was freaking amazing, and the fact that like he had 2 shows going on at the same time, The Last of Us and The Mandalorian. Like my boy Pedro Pascal putting in work right now. So he did an amazing job as Joel. Like, it's almost every character that we saw in this series really played their hearts out. Like, it was amazing acting, just from top to bottom, from like almost everybody. Like, I enjoyed pretty much everything that I saw in this series. And this was another thing that, like, because of The Last of Us 2, probably for me, I didn't really have high expectations for this series. I was like, okay, like The Last of Us is coming out on HBO, like I'm going to watch it, but I wasn't expecting to like actually be in tune and waiting for it, week after week, seeing, how they're going to depict this series compared to The Last of Us video game. But it was really good. Like, it's like, I think HBO really did a good job, and I think that's probably the perfect platform to actually put this series on, because if it was on something else, it probably would have been watered down a little bit. Like, I feel like they were raw. Like, it was a lot of just gruesome killing going on in certain parts. What needed to be done needed to be done. It was just a lot of tense moments, and a lot of people can reference what happened in the video game to almost the exact same that happened in the series here. So I think that everybody did a really good job, but we'll get to that in a moment, what's going to happen the next season, because we know what's coming. So we're going to talk about that. But yeah, I give it a 9 out of 10, man. Like I said, me personally, I just didn't see any really bad moments. But I'll let you go. What, you got any criticisms?
Didn't you get a free Last of Us jacket?
Oh, you trying to say I'm chilling?
You said it. I did. Anyway. Stop. We all did. I'm just fucking around. What's today? I was gonna. You were supposed to say yes, and I'll be like, yeah, we could tell. I was trying to set you up. Anyways, I like the show. I do really like the show. I'm actually genuinely surprised by that. The first maybe like 2 episodes, my biggest concern, and I was like, all right, they're sticking outside of that opening scene in the first episode where like they kind of did a little bit of foreshadowing with the gentleman from like the 60s talking about, oh, I think it's a fungus, it's not a virus. That was different, but after that, they kind of just stuck to the game. So I was worried that they were just gonna just follow it to a T. I was like, I need something different. I need to see some new characters, some type of new development, so that like it gives me a reason to watch. Because I was like, otherwise, I beat the game and I know what happens. By episode 3, things do start to change up, and they start to play enough with the material that it felt good, and it brought me back. Like the one episode where they were like playing around in the mall and shit. Like, that was DLC that wasn't even in the game. But they put that in the middle of the season to give more context to Ellie's character, which I thought was nice because I didn't actually play the DLC because I don't buy DLC. So I don't have to. Anyways, but yeah, the cinematography was really good. I thought that it was bloody, it was gory. I was worried about the scene, the boss fight in the burning house. I was worried they were gonna water it down for like the TV, because the implications of what they were trying to say, what he was trying to do, the little weird ass cultist. I'm glad they didn't water it down, and they kept it like the game. And then I think my one complaint about the show is, well, 2. I felt like there wasn't enough action, like there wasn't enough clickers in action. There was a little bit too much of a focus on the decline of society, which I understand is a big component of it, but it's like also this motherfucker was fighting big ass zombies and shit. And then also, it's interesting you said it was perfect. I felt like towards the end it was completely rushed. They skipped like half of the game, and they just kind of went straight to the ending. So I felt like the ending didn't have the impact that it had compared to the game, because they rushed it. Like, this is one of the few cases where you'll probably hear me say, how long was the season? It was like 8 or 9 episodes, I believe.
9.
I feel like they could have stretched it to like 12. because there was stuff that was left out of the game that I'm like, it felt a little bit out of context, that ending. But overall, regardless, I still say that this is the best live action adaptation, and it gives me hope. Although I would also, you could also make the argument that it's kind of hard to fuck up a live action of this because it's damn near a movie, the game itself. But they still executed, so I'm gonna give them kudos. They still executed. What about you, Ethos? Where you at? You said, I don't think you said you finished the show, right?
I don't remember what episode I was on. I think I got to like 5 or whatever it was, and I just haven't sat down and finished the rest of it. It's kind of weird. I don't really have any strong opinions about the show. I just feel like it's like, oh yeah, this is cool. I'm just watching, enjoy. I just think it's just because I've initially, like from the very beginning, I've never really had a very strong connection to the games or the characters or the story for the begin with. So that's why I just don't feel like I really have a connection when I watch this. I guess I just watch it for the like the Leo meme where I'm like, I know what that is. Like I know what that's a reference of it in the game. Like that's about it. But like what you said, right? Like I'm not a person who's been like really captivated by this series like a lot of other people. So for me, I just watch it and I kind of see it. I was like, okay, this is just another like zombie apocalypse movie.
Fair enough.
That's it. Yeah. So.
Well, season 2 and 3 has already been confirmed for The Last of Us. I don't know what the fuck they're doing for season 3. I think they're stretching out the second game for 2 seasons. One thing Neil Druckmann said is that he heard the outcry of criticism, because I'm not the only one that said that there was a lack of action in the show. He said in season 2 and 3 there will be more action and more clickers. And then also there was a statement that was released by Neil Druckmann that said The Last of Us 2 season 2 won't be changing up things that address part 2's negative criticism, because the first game is universally beloved by the gaming community, but the second game split the community in half. And the series creator said he is not concerned what haters have to say. They are sticking to their guns. What does that mean for you, Jay, in terms of the show in the future? Do you think that it can continue the momentum and the success with the storyline of the second game?
It's going to be tough because, like I said, they're going to be opening up some old wounds, and people are not going to like that. But I don't know, maybe people will be over it enough that they will just continue to watch it, not just be outraged, because again, the outrage from the second game has already happened. It's already passed. So we'll see. But yeah, he's just like, I don't care. Like I'm gonna do it anyways because this was the story. This is what we thought of. It happened. We're not going to continue to drag out Joel any further like some people might want to. We're definitely not going to make it to a point where, you know, he didn't go away. Like that's not happening. I think, you know, there's a small group of people that I guess kind of wish it that they would switch it up just because it's a live action now. But I mean, it's not going to happen. Neil Druckmann just does not care. So it's going to end up being like that. So again, it's just really going to come down to like, maybe there's also a group of people that have never played The Last of Us 1 or 2 before, and it may be a new experience for them too. And I don't think those people will truly care unless they just, for some reason, found like a close attachment to Joel or Pedro's character in the actual live series compared to, you know, in the video game, because I mean it's over. So we'll see how it is, but I don't think it's going to affect it too much, to be honest. And if it does, it's just going to be a very, very small group that will chime in and be upset about it. But again, you can't be upset if you know it already happened in the video game.
I'm just trying to wrap my brain around how they're going to structure season 2 and 3, because in that second game, from what I remember, like half of the game you play as Abby. And then the other half you're playing as Ellie. Only in that first little portion of the game do you see a little bit of both. And then Joel dies. And then like that's when like the Abby stuff starts happening or whatever. So like I feel like there's the potential to piss off people even more who are not even familiar with the game. Because imagine if you watch season 1 of the show and you see Joel and Ellie, and then season 2 comes, they kill off Joel, and then the rest of the season's like about Abby. Like that would be confusing, because at least with the game you get to play it and see it all the way through. But because it's a TV show, I would imagine production would take a little bit longer. You would drop season 2 and then season 3 would come. So I'm curious to see how they're going to structure it, because the storytelling in the context of a game can work a little bit easier because you're always moving, you're in control. But with television, you're not in control. That's what makes it different. And then yeah, that's the main thing. What y'all think about that?
Yeah, I think maybe the 2 and 3 thing could be. So like my biggest like complaint about the part 2 was that I always felt that the pacing was bad for the game. I don't think the pacing was good in part 2, and I think that's where a lot of the controversy came out of. And I don't like how they ordered the structure of events. Like I don't like the whole flashback thing that they did, like where it was just like, you know, you wanted to get through the present events, but it would flash back in Ellie's past, and it was so irritating. Yeah. Because that killed the pacing of the game. Because like you get to a really good part of the game and it just cuts you and sends you, no, Ellie's a little old kid, and with Joel, and it's like these are the things that I was just like, if these things had been at the beginning, if all these flashbacks had been sorted to the beginning of the game and you go through them and then you flash back to the present day and then you just stay in the present for the rest of the game, I feel like that would have made the perception of like Joel dying and stuff, like instead of just killing him off at the beginning of the game and instead of making it like be the big twist near the middle, or like maybe at the halfway point of the game you kill him off, or at the end, then I think it would have been more, it would have, I feel like it just wouldn't have had half the complaints that it got. They could just keep the same content. It was just how they structured it, I think, was bad. So if the TV show allows them, it seems like based on what I've watched, they can basically expand on stuff and they can pace it. I think the smartest thing would be is, if I was in his shoes, it would be, I would pick, if I was Neil, I would say, okay, so for the second season, we're just going to do Abby only. So we're just going to start from Abby as a kid and then have her like showing her growing up, kind of like what they did with Ellie for season 1. So now you have time to like see Abby developing, growing up. And then for the people who've never seen the or have never played the games, the big twist or the thing that would like be like, oh shit, would be is by the end of season 2, it connects to the ending of season 1, where you're just like, oh, you know, Joel killed her father and stuff like that. And then it would be like, oh, that's cool. Because then that brings up the stakes for then part 3. Because now she's like, I'm going to kill him. And then now the people who just never played the game are like, ooh, it's going to be hyped. Because now season 3 is going to be Ellie versus Abby. And then they could play the modern day events of like both of them trying to kill each other. Me personally, that would make a lot more sense. And I don't think that would be.
I like that.
Yeah. I think that works if most, and there's no way, because we don't have data on this, if most people feel about the game the same way you feel, where it's like the game story wasn't bad, it just needed to be structured better, like the pacing is better. Because like I would disagree with you like with like that flashback stuff. It wasn't just the pacing, like because you just gave me a Vietnam PTSD flashback. That scene, you remember when they were in the museum, the astronaut scene, that was some of the cringiest shit I've ever fucking seen, bro. I'm gonna be honest, they should cut it out the show. I don't want to.
Okay, what was worse? What was worse? Okay, because I'm telling you, the 2 things that gave me PTSD about that damn game was the flashbacks, and then every time you had to go back to the fucking aquarium, I was losing my shit. Oh my god, I have to backtrack. You're
contradicting yourself now. You said it wasn't the content, they just needed to structure it better. So which one is it?
That's what I'm talking about, the structure. Like they just made us do the same thing. Oh, go back to it.
I get it.
If they structured it differently, where I didn't have to do that 2-3 times, I wouldn't have been mad about it. But this is my hot take. Okay, what was more what made you want to like what made you closer to turn off your PS5? Was it the astronaut? I fell asleep when Ellie was trying to play Wonderwall on her guitar. I think it's on stream somewhere. I fell asleep when that happened, but
every time she pulled out a guitar, I'm like, god damn, can we get an autoplay? Like,
yeah, I was ready to fall asleep. But what do you think was hottest take? What do you think was a more boring experience? Doing the flashbacks with Ellie with the astronaut and going through that whole stupid museum with Joel, or Atreus's mission with the boar? You think Last of Us was worse?
I'm not lie. The Atreus sections did not bother me. They did not bother me. I don't agree with you on that.
The boar one didn't bother.
Even with the section with the black girl, it did not bother me.
You tripping. That shit was so boring, bro.
Especially when you start to unlock more of his skill tree. Like, I felt like Atreus got better. It was a nice change of pace to me. It did not bother me. The puzzles, the shitty ass puzzles would bother me.
That whole swamp level with the stupid boar and jumping on top of the boar and driving around. I hated that. That was the most boring shit I ever played last year. That segment. I fell asleep playing that shit. It was that boring. I stand by that. That shit was terrible.
I disagree.
I don't care.
But to answer your question, it was also The Last of Us and Astronaut.
All right, cool. All right, well, we know. All right, Neil, you hear that? All right, don't put the astronaut scene in, please.
I didn't like any of Abby's flashback stuff though either, to be honest. But
I liked playing as Abby. She was a
I thought Abby was
fun. Playing as Abby
running
was
and gunning,
cool.
But it was
adult Abby, but the flashback stuff, I didn't care.
Maybe I have the hot take, but I enjoyed playing Abby's entire everything.
I actually agree. I agree.
Ellie. I hated Ellie. Like, halfway through the game, I was so sick and tired of Ellie. I was sick of her personality. I was sick of the shit.
I didn't like that final boss fight. I didn't like.
Anytime I got control of Ellie, I was just rolling my eyes. I was like, oh, here we go. Here comes some bullshit. Every time I played Abby, it was fun. I felt like a tank. I was just running through people. All her scenes, especially when they're on the island, right? And you have to sneak with the island and they set the island on fire. That whole thing was fire. I was like, oh, this is amazing.
It's so funny we're revisiting this
cool.
because like it just shows how split people are. Like I can't wait for season 2 or 3. It's gonna be some fuckery on social media, boy. Like
definitely.
I'll tell you this way. Season 1, going back to it, it was really good. And the way that I know it was effective, the person I was watching it with, she cried multiple times during the show, and then when we got to the end, she's like, oh, she mainly just plays Call of Duty and Apex. She was like, I want to play the game now. So like it served its purpose for casuals, I think. So I think it's good.
That's been a good thing. I think a lot of these IPs have kind of proven that like if you do it right, if you spend the time and you invest in it, like it makes your game like 10 times better. Like it was the same thing when Cyberpunk Edge Runners came out. Like I saw so many people who were just like either going back or they were just like, you know what? I know that game like had like a shitload of controversy when it came out, but I'm gonna give it a shot after that, and like it boosted the sales. And they did the same with The Witcher, right? When The Witcher came out, same thing. Like Witcher's sales blew
I
up.
still need to watch that show.
What, Witcher?
Yeah, I never watched it.
It's
not good.
I give up. I say give up because they recasted Geralt, and I don't.
They're bringing it back after Henry Cavill got left.
Yeah, and they're choosing Chris Hemsworth. Thor. His brother is now going to be the new Geralt, and I
that nigga Loki is Geralt.
No,
this guy.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That actually gave me a fucking aneurysm.
I thought it was supposed to be like with the time police or some shit. What the fuck?
No, I'm talking about his real.
I thought he was He Who Remains or something.
Oh, I'm talking about his real brother. Not Loki, bro. I said the actor, not Loki.
Your brother.
Oh my god!
It's about his Marvel brother.
Oh shit! I mean,
holy shit! This is how Marvel has brain rotted people. That's like, think about that. That like, the meaning you was to a Loki.
Guy, man.
Yeah, it's a fucking Last of Us. Good stuff. Keep it up, HBO. I'm curious to see if they can
more merch.
I'm curious to see if they can keep up with the quality after the Discovery acquisition. Will they manage to keep that shit up? Before we move into the news section, Resident Evil 4 remake that came out since the last podcast. These two didn't play it, but I literally just beat it on stream, literally. And I rage quit. I did a big uninstall. Y'all see the video. It'll be on the YouTube channel in like a week or whatever. Listen, Resident Evil fans, leave me alone. I just don't think I'll ever be a fan of this series, and that's okay. That's okay, but it's like, people when they really love something, they really try to push you to love it, and it's like, it's not for me. I tried the Resident Evil 3 remake. I didn't like it. I never played 2 because I didn't like 3, but I was like, I remember playing 4 at a friend's house on GameCube, and I was like, oh, this is all right. But I never beat it because I wasn't allowed to play M-rated games. My parents did their job. I grew up a Mario kid, okay? So I missed out on a lot of games, and that was one of them, which was funny because it was like the only mature rated game on GameCube. So I was like, you know what? I was like, I remember I liked playing this at a friend's house. Let me do my first full thorough Resident Evil playthrough, and I played it. Game 16 chapters. I would say the first half of the game I actually did enjoy it because it made sense. And also apparently to get some positives, there's a lot of new content in it. Like the first few chapters were not originally in the original games, what the chat was telling me. So there's new stuff, context in here, like the Dead Space thing that gives more context to the story and why things are going on. The visuals are great. It ran great on my Xbox, but I don't know what the fuck happened in the second half of Resident Evil 4. It goes from being like a horror action game to like a straight up horror game. A straight up action game, a straight up action game. And the problem is the game is so fucking clunky. Bro, from chapter 12 to 16, I wanted to uninstall the game, but I was at the end. I was like, let me just get to it. They're just throwing waves of enemies at you. And because Leon cannot do a 360 very quickly, he can't move side to side very quickly. And then also, you had a shit ton of ammo in the beginning, in the first half of the game. The second half of the game, it's hard to come across ammo. They're throwing hundreds and thousands of enemies at you. Literally, the final mission is you're storming a castle. You're running uphill. You got zombies on turrets coming at you. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit, bro? It goes from like something similar to like Dead Space to straight up Call of Duty, but it doesn't work because it doesn't move like Call of Duty. And so I started raging. I'm like, bruh, this is your king? I don't get it, man. I don't fucking get it. Leave me alone, Resident Evil community. If y'all like it, I respect it. But respect is not for me. I'm good. If they come out with a Resident Evil Remake 5, not playing it. 7, didn't play it.
Not supporting black women?
Shut up. What's her name?
Exactly.
No, it's not that. It's not that. Did you play Resident Evil 4 remake?
I have not been able to buy it yet.
Exactly. Did you play it, JG?
No.
Exactly. Y'all don't play no games. Next topic.
I don't know. Sounds like a skill issue to me.
Siggy said the same. Siggy said the same exact thing.
No,
Siggy had a skill issue too. Siggy got a skill issue too, bro.
Siggy was shooting at the floor, bro. I'm like, Siggy, what the hell?
No, I'm not gonna lie. I saw Siggy play, and like he was struggling to aim, and he had to put like the snap feature on the super aim assist. I didn't have that problem.
That's old man game. That's an old mode for old people.
That man was he's struggling on Ghost of Tsushima. He said the counter system and the fucking camera. I'm like, really? Ghost of Tsushima is one of the most easiest games I played in recent time.
It's only hard to play on the hardest
difficulty, but
I play on the hardest, and it turns into like an Elden. Like
I'm like,
you can die really fast.
Did you play Batman Arkham? Because I'm like, that's pretty much what it is. Like,
this is a $5 tier.
I just think Siggy's only perk is that he was good at Elden Ring because it doesn't have guns in it. I'm thinking, the moment he had to pick up a gun, he can't shoot anymore. That's kind of crazy.
That man found his meta weapons, and that's how he got through it.
Yep, can't pick up his Google. Ladies
and gentlemen, so just for clarification, I don't hate Resident Evil 4 remake, but I don't particularly like it. For me and for Resident Evil fans, I understand why you like it. The game is gorgeous. It runs well. So I understand why it got 9s and 10s if you love Resident Evil. But if you don't, to me, it's like a 7. From someone from the outside looking in, I don't get it. It's a price drop game for me, but to each its own. Let's move on to the news section of the actual podcast. A lot of interesting news happened since the last show, and one of the biggest stories was during the Sony State of the Play. It was revealed a lot of new gameplay for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. But the biggest reveal from that outside of the gameplay was the rumors are true. There was a leaked image that we actually talked about on a previous podcast, I believe.
Wait, it's been that long?
Yeah, it's been a month,
dog.
I done the podcast.
So hold on, check it. So I had to actually check the date on the last podcast. We uploaded the last podcast on February 20th, and I said I had to check my notes. I was like, did we talk about this? I looked at the release date for this article. It was February 23rd. So this happened 3 days after the last podcast. It was just bad timing.
We never did one in March at all.
No. Because literally we started going in negotiation, with the Discord stuff.
That's why can we say shout out to you, the viewers? A lot of people have been coming in the comment sections of all our streams. When's the next podcast? Motherfuckers been fiending, and the views have been through the roof. We putting up Luca. Well, I don't know about Luca because Mavs ain't making the playoffs.
He said, he out of here, bro.
But you get the point. We've been putting up crazy numbers, and it's all thanks to you guys. Y'all have really been supporting, coming through, commenting, hitting the like button. The last 5 or 6 podcasts have been going crazy for the views. We've been picking up subs. But yeah, that's the reason we kind of disappeared for the last month. We was in negotiations with Discord. When we say we're sponsored by Discord, we're not saying that they gave us an affiliate code. We have an actual deal with them, if you catch my drift. So what's the name? That's only possible because you guys support the show, and we would really appreciate if you guys engaged with the Discord at discord.gg/GI updates. We're doing a lot of cool stuff in there. But anyways, yeah. Link in the description box below. Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. Since the last show, there was a rumor. It was a leaked image that came out. And on the top right of that image, it was like an alluding to a battle pass. WB, they took that down. Anybody who posted, they took it down, including my video. So it made me think that it was real because they were copyright striking people. And then the State of the Play happened. They revealed a bunch of gameplay, and they revealed that in fact that this game is a live service game. People were under the impression that this was an action adventure co-op game, but instead this is a live service game. Think The Division, Gotham Knights, Marvel's Avengers, and it will require an online connection. It has a battle pass, bunch of stats and shit, and this set the internet ablaze to the point where the game actually recently got delayed. I forgot to put that in the notes. Let me Google that. There's no release date. It doesn't have a release date. Now I do remember now. So it got after they said it wasn't because of the backlash. But do y'all find it a little suspicious that a week after the backlash they decided to delay the game?
You don't find that suspicious?
You don't find that suspicious?
So for me to articulate the issue, I think with it being a live service game is if you watch the gameplay. Let's see if I can pull it up. Very fast paced, very fluid, and the way my brain works is this looks fun, but if I don't have the right gear score, what does it matter that I'm flipping and dipping all over the goddamn place because I can't damage anybody? It's no different than the fucking Division. And this rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. On top of that, they said the battle pass was only for cosmetics, but what happened to just letting people unlock stuff and playing the game? You was about to say something, Jay. What you about to say?
No, like when I saw that preview in the Sony State of Play, it made me actually not like the
want to play the game.
Yeah, no, it was a bad representation. I was like, is this what we're really doing in the Suicide Squad game? It just did not look fun. And I know there's some people disagree with me when I said this on Twitter, but I saw it. I was like, yo, I'm actually more disinterested in the game, you know, outside of that leak that we saw. And once they confirmed everything was true, and then shortly after, once they got the feedback, the negative feedback about the Sony State of Play preview, and they ended up delaying it or just not giving a release date, it's bad. It's bad right now. Like, and I remember we initially reported that, you know, some of the original developers from Rocksteady also left, and I was like, I don't, you know, I think that y'all don't see the correlation right now, but I think we are going to really see like how impactful those guys were, because once this product comes out, if it ends up being like this and they don't make any drastic changes, it's gonna be even worse than the last Batman game that just came out.
I'm gonna take a wild guess, and I'm gonna say I think the reason, there's no way for me to prove it, I'm just talking on my ass, but I think the reason that the two heads of Rocksteady left was because they wanted to make an action adventure co-op game, and WB Montreal or whoever the publisher is, WB said we need to find a way to monetize this, and they were probably butting heads, so they was like, you know what, we're just gonna leave.
I agree. I think that's it. I think it literally came down to they wanted to make like a true Arkham successor that was going to be very story focused and more like, you know, that action game without any gear score stuff. And WB was like, well, our stats are showing that like these type of games have better engagement with gear scores, that people will play the game longer, just put them into the game. And that's probably when they left, was when they couldn't convince the publisher to not do it, so they quit.
I was talking about it on stream earlier today, and I was just saying, I was like, I have no data for this. There's no logic behind this, which is very rare for me to say, but it's like my gut tells me this game isn't going to be good. And I'm watching the gameplay back now. Y'all can't see it, but you'll be able to see it when the podcast posts. The gameplay doesn't look good either. It's just hordes of enemies standing in place, and I'm noticing the AI now. They're not doing anything unique. They're not attacking. It just looks like a generic third-person shooter, but they got us because there's a lot of verticality in it. But once you remove the flipping and dipping out of it, it's just waves of enemies just sitting there where it looks like if you just throw a grenade, you can kill them all if you have the right gear score.
I want to give a shout out to the Avengers, which will be dying this year, because that game has traumatized the gaming community to such a point that anytime you show a gear score or you show superheroes now, everyone's traumatized that it's going to be ass. So I think that's pretty funny. Because you know what's hilarious? I've even seen on social circles that people are scared of Spider-Man 2. Like, same thing.
Why?
Just because of Avengers, like it is actually traumatized people to the point where like they even have doubts that like about Spider-Man, like, oh, what if they had this co-op thing? What if they add gear to it? Because, you know, like Spider-Man didn't add gear, but it, like, you know, it added some little RPG stuff here and there, little upgrades and stuff like that. It's like, what if they go further? What if they add gear score to Spider-Man suits and da-da-da? And people are like, no, it wouldn't be like that. It's like, well, they're doing co-op and da-da. So I don't know. It's a scary time to be a superhero game, I think. I think for now on, I think it's kind of like similar to how people feel about DLC and stuff. I think people are sick and tired of playing, you know, gear score focused games, like, or I should say, they're sick of games like shoehorning that type of like, you know, thing, that type of experience into games. And I'll give credit to it, as much as I shat on it over the years. The only game that has successfully pulled this shit off has been Destiny. They've done it for a damn near decade now, and they've been going strong and they've been consistent. Even though the recent release has been kind of, but you know, I think that type of game is just hard as hell to make, and I think a lot of developers don't realize that. And then it's like think about like Anthem. Division was actually a good Division 2. Division was a flop, wasn't that good. Division 2 was much better. They understood what they did wrong. It was actually really solid. But a lot of these games that Nomad likes to play, they just end up dying 1 month later because they fuck up the end game, the story's mid, or the game just doesn't work. It's just always one of those things.
It all comes down to money. A lot of these games, even something like Anthem, it would have been better as a co-op action adventure game where it was very story driven. And then if you wanted to make money later, release story driven and like expansions. Yeah, that way you can like focus on it. But trying to do the live service stuff, it really comes down to greed. They're trying to make money 24/7, and like, bro, you can't. Quality takes time. You can't do that.
Yeah. So we truly gotten away from that. Like, expansions used to be a thing before DLC, ended up running rampant across all gaming, and then we went from that to battle passes and loot boxes and live service games. So like, we've just totally strayed away from what makes a game a good video game. We just want a good action adventure experience. Like, and I'm going to say this right now, games can end, people. Games can end. If a game is great, let it end. You don't need to make any additional money for it. How about this concept? Make another game. Like, if your game was good, I think you can make another one. You can make it equally as good. Like, you don't have to make a sequel. You can make a different experience. You don't have to continue and build upon a game that's considered a masterpiece, a 10 out of 10, a 93 Metacritic score. Just end it and just make something else. You don't have to continue to make the just stop, especially with these story-driven games. Like, it's really getting on my nerves at this point.
I think the issue is publishers have bought into the concept. They think that we want all these $500 million AAA experiences, not realizing that, like, me personally, if you got $100 million, $500 million to spend, I'd rather you give that $500 million to 5 different studios and give them each like $100 million or some shit like that, and make smaller games. Everything don't need to be fucking 50 hours. Like, give me a good 15-hour game. Yeah, like Hi-Fi Rush. Invest. You can get more of those smaller games out. That way, you're constantly bringing money in.
Different types of games that we haven't seen. This has been something that I've always praised Xbox for, is that, like, instead of trying to dump their money all the time into this it needs to be a big blockbuster type of game, AAA experience, like, you have to have those every once in a while, but like, please, like, invest in some smaller, like, more unique experimental projects. Like, I want more Hi-Fi Rushes to exist in this world. I want, like, gamers to support those type of games that are smaller, 8 to 10 hours, really fun experience, very memorable, and they're done. It's a one and done, and it was a fun game, and maybe if we're lucky we get a sequel for Hi-Fi Rush, or if we don't, it's going to be a cult classic. It guarantees it'll be a cult classic in like 2-3 years. Guarantee it. So.
Especially with games being digitally released mainly now, like, game preservation shouldn't be as big of an issue. As long as you keep the game on your server, it's always going to sell if it's good. Yeah. But to each his own. What couldn't sell? The return of E3. Now, they took a break last year, and then they said they're coming back this year. And I feel like we talk about this like every 3 months.
Every 3 months.
What's the name? It started with the big three rumored not to be coming, which is Nintendo, Sony, Microsoft. Of course, Nintendo's not coming. Then Sega pulled out, and then Ubisoft pulled out. And I knew that was a big deal because if there's one thing we know, Ubisoft love to hear themselves talk and show off their damn games 100 million different hours. Then the news broke that E3 has been officially canceled because there was a lack of interest. But they said that they're not 100% sure they could come back as another event. I just think we need to just put it 6 feet under. Like, just let it go. I don't think anybody cares. The world has just moved on from the brick and mortar, and it's like dual on. If E3 has any way of coming back, it's got to be digital. But then if you do that, if I'm Square Enix, I'm like, well, why not just put it on my own YouTube channel? Why give it to them? You see what I'm saying? It's just clouting them up. So I was like, I just don't see it surviving. What about y'all?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we're about to be at a point where we're done. Like, if you can't make it happen this year, when Reed Pop, who they're the head of the PAX event, once you gave the reins to them, the ESA gave the reins to them, and we're like, hey, what can we do to try to revive E3, post-pandemic? Like, you're still doing PAX, it looks like it's going fine, and it gets to a point where the biggest gaming convention in the US can't even get the big three, let alone any of its smaller publisher subsidiaries to come. You know that there is an issue. Apparently there was a communication issue between Reed Pop and the companies. A lot of companies didn't like that they were not properly communicating to them as to what the plans were going to be for E3. So that's already a red flag there. So I don't know what Reed Pop was doing, but it was terrible. And then apparently the CEO of Reed Pop also left right before like all of these other companies said that they're not coming to E3. So it's just a really bad, situation going on right now. So I think that this is pretty much going to be the end. I don't see what ReedPop can do in order to get the companies to like truly be like on board and want to come back. If not next year, then years going forward. I think they should just end it here and just continue on with PAX and with smaller events and just move on from there.
I think another issue that like a lot of people aren't talking about why E3 is struggling is like it just doesn't hold weight with the younger generation. Like E3 is a us thing. It's like a millennial thing. We grew up watching it on TV, so it's like, oh, I want to go there one day. But a lot of these younger kids didn't grow up. Like they just watch like these. Nintendo was really ahead of their time. They just watch these live streams and they're sitting there thinking like, why would I go to like an E3? So I think one of the biggest issues is E3 didn't do anything to captivate Gen Z. And that's part of the reason why they've kind of like fallen off. So it is what it is, man. I don't think that shit coming back. I think this is like RIP for real. Like he told, oh, maybe they keep. I don't care about your teasers. Yeah, because remember
I was talking to one of my homies about this. Like, do you remember when the Xbox first came out and like E3 was like the event where you announced these things? Yeah, exactly. Right. When the GameCube came out, when the Wii came out, like those were big things.
You're meant that's what we refer to as core memory. You have core memories at E3. Gen Z does not have that. What's the what's their memory for them? Like by the time I think the E3's last big hurrah was like probably around the time the PS4, Xbox One was announced, and like that audience was like super young. They weren't tuned into gaming news, so like I don't think they have core memories with E3. They don't remember when X, Y, and Z was announced. So it's like you're not captivating. If you're not casting a wide net, you're always going to be losing customers. So you always have to cast a wide net to bring in newer ones. And I don't think they ever did that. So yeah. It is what it is.
So it's over, man. Like I said, besides like actually like being able to experience the event in person, like the main reason to go is because you were able to play games early, right? I don't even think they're properly communicating like, hey, like these, X, Y, and Z is going to be here and we're going to have this game here for you all to play. And on top of that, like with us being able to go for a few years and like experience E3 as media, the ESA completely got away from that and they stopped really catering to us like to showcase these games, to talk to these developers and publishers. So they got fully away from themselves. And then before you know it, the pandemic happened. The major thing happened again with the doxing of everyone's information in 2019. So that also, set a lot of media to like, hey, I don't even want to come to this event anymore. Pandemic happened and then now we're here. Nobody wants to come.
Well, the reason they're not communicating that the games are playable at the event is because they don't have no games that are playable. But
yeah, that's also true.
Fuck, right? Nobody coming to
do you guys remember when we first went to E3 in 2015? Do you remember how we thought we were going to be able to play games with those big ass theaters?
Yeah.
Remember PlayStation? Where we're like, oh, let's go see Uncharted 4 or whatever it is. And you walk in, you think you'd be able to play it. And it was just you sit down and they just show you a video demo and they just play it in front of you. You'd be like, wait, that's it? And then you walk out and that was it.
Pretty much. You know how I know E3 hasn't done a good job of touching like the younger culture is because PAX East just happened. And like hella people I saw on social media were like happy to be there playing games, previewing and stuff like that. And I think it's because PAX has done a good job. PAX has always been for like the people, and E3 has always been kind of like this elitist thing. But what happens when the elite stop fucking with one another? It can fuck you over.
And that shit should have stayed elitist. I'm gonna stay on that fucking hill. I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Should have stayed gatekeeping public regular. I hate to say it. It sounds really like I'm gonna sound like a dick when I say this. I apologize, but like to like a regular viewer, just like a regular gamer. But I think they should have never let a lot of you sweaty, smelling motherfuckers into that event. I think the moment they opened to the public, that signed its death warrant.
I think what they could have did to adapt is maybe do what Jeff Keighley did. I got to go to Summer Games Fest last year, and it was downsize the venue. That way, you don't have to charge people as much to show up. And then it's easier to get your job done. You're just there to do interviews and play games. So it was like at Summer Games Fest, I want to say the room was the size of maybe like a football field. You were able to see everything within like an hour. And if you had stuff scheduled, boom, 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 and then you're out. Like I think that if they would have downscaled it, it would have been a lot easier to maintain. But the problem is it was just too grand. They were a little too in over their heads, kind of like G4. Anyways, we can't be reached for a comment. Next story, because I'm tired of talking about E3 anyway. Next story, Mortal Kombat 12 has been confirmed to be on the way. I mean, I just totally fucked that up. The button. During an earnings call for the publisher, they were talking about all the different games that are coming out this year, and it was mentioned on the earnings call that Mortal Kombat 12 would be coming in 2023. Mortal Kombat 12 has not even been released. I think the funny thing about this, I don't know who the fuck leaked this earning call, but I think the funny thing about this I was talking about was like these investment apps, they've really changed the game. So like there's companies that like let's say you download Robinhood or like Webull or something like that, because even though it's an app, you are investing in the company. So you get invited to, and I get these links all the time, you get invited to whatever company's earning call because you're now an investor. And I low-key think that like this is where these calls are, because like I don't know about y'all, but do you remember 10 years ago people were like leaking earnings calls? Like I think it has something to do with now that it's easier than ever to invest in companies. That's why we're getting information like this, because this is not supposed to be public information.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the name? What is Mortal Kombat 12 got to do for y'all to get y'all excited?
I do not care.
Yeah, we know you play
Unless
fighters on
it's
the
DC.
Switch. You play fighters on the
Unless
Switch.
it's Injustice. I play. Oh yeah, I did.
Yeah, people did want Injustice. I seen a group of people that wish they were getting another Injustice game instead of this.
There's like a rumor that they were working on a Marvel fighting game, or they were gonna do the next one as the Capcom. Like they were gonna do like a collaboration, but I think that was just fake.
That would be fire. Yeah. Capcom versus Marvel or something. Like
that was just fake BS.
What about this story? Is this doing anything for you? It's been revealed that a new Ninja Turtles game is being made. And it's a action adventure game, supposed to be open world, inspired by God of War, and it takes place in the Last Ronin storyline, which is a storyline in Ninja Turtles where it's super dark and gritty. 3 of the brothers have died and only one is left, and there's a whole mystery. This one turtle is basically getting his get back against the Foot Clan. And he carries all of the brothers' weapons, so like throughout the story you don't really know who he is, and then like halfway through it's revealed, which I mean you can look it up if you want to, spoiler. Supposedly, yeah, they're working on a game for this Last Ronin book, the 2020 novel, God of War styles. Is it doing anything for you, JG?
I mean, you can sign me up. When they said that it's inspired by RPG like God of War, I'm like, okay, like I think they're going to get straight to the point with, an action adventure type of game with RPG elements. I think this is going to be fire. Like if they just execute it correctly, that Last Ronin storyline was pretty good. So I think turning this into a video game, if they're saying that game like God of War, the inspiration, then I think it's gonna be pretty dope.
I think it's interesting that this is getting an adaptation, saying as this is a 2020 story. This is a new story, so like it's cool to see that like we're catching up to the comic books. I'm gonna give a little bit of pushback because a lot of people were excited, and I was initially excited until I fully read the article. And the only thing that like I'm saying sleep with one eye open on this game is this game is being published by Paramount. And Paramount has no track record of publishing any fucking video games. And they have not revealed what studio they're contracting to make this game. So until I know what studio is making this game, I would say don't get too excited about this. Let's wait for like a trailer. Because Paramount doesn't have a background with games. I think that's the only kind of red flag about this.
That's fair.
Any takes on it, Ethos?
You want to hear something hilarious? I'm like 90% for sure this rumor is 100% true and it's not fake.
Oh, I believe it's real too. Like this storyline would sell like hotcakes.
So last year, I had an agency reach out to me. There's no NDA.
Can you talk about this?
Yeah, there's no NDA. They sent me an email. They did not like try to hide this or say this is undercover. I didn't have to sign any paperwork, so they can't legally do anything to me. I had an agency. I won't say which one. I had an agency reach out to me and offer IPs that they wanted developed into video games, and they were offering me Ninja Turtles, and they were also offering RoboCop. So, and it's funny because the robot game RoboCop, it got revealed and came out this year, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, okay, they were basically reaching out to different like studios of different sizes, and I was tempted to take it, but I was like, nah, there's no way I have the time to even think about doing that. I would have loved to have made a Turtles game, but that's why I'm convinced that this game 100% exists. Yeah, it's a road game. 100%. Yeah, whatever agency, they represented the people who owned the IP, and they just want to make a game. I'm assuming, because my guess is, with all the recent success of like Last of Us and the video games transferring into different media, I think now what we're gonna see now for the next 5 years, I think for the next decade of gaming, I think we're gonna see a lot of big IPs in the movie and TV area actually enter games. I think a lot of times it seems like it's always been games trying to prove itself, and so we're gonna become movies with Last of Us live action stuff, we're gonna show we can be good just like that. I think now it's becoming the reverse. I think people have accepted gaming as it's the biggest type of medium when it comes to entertainment. And I think what we're gonna have is now a boatload of IPs. We've had it already, but I think a lot of big time, big brand type IPs that have been exclusively movie or TV shows now be turned into video games. Think of it what's the name of that one? Not Interstellar. The other space one. God, I love it too. No, not Mass. Oh, that's being developed, right?
I think Amazon's making it.
Amazon's making it, yeah. And I know God of War has their Amazon one too, and I think Netflix has what's her name, Horizon. So yeah, that. But I know there's I'm sorry, people who know the Amazon Space one, the one that's really good. It has 6 seasons. I love it. I can't believe I'm forgetting the name of it. That's getting turned into a Telltale type game. I guess I'd ask you guys if there is a TV show or movie that has never been touched as a video game. What game? What type of thing? JG, and you can't say Snowfall. So that would be a fire game.
Which would be Grand Theft Auto.
I mean, yeah, but it would be more than that. I think.
Something CIA.
But yeah, shouts to the CIA, shouts to the KGB. What type of media would you love to see turned into a game? And what studio would you have do it?
Said I can't say Snowfall.
No, I feel like that's an easy clap. You can't pick. You gotta pick
something. I feel like Breaking Bad would be an interesting one.
Who would you make?
What studio though?
Or Rockstar or something?
I mean, I feel like Rockstar would be too easy.
Yeah.
I think it would be too easy. I mean, I think honestly, Insomniac could probably do a decent job. Trying to think of a studio that's kind of not
that big,
not just no, but yeah, I mean, Rockstar would be easy, but I think Insomniac would do a decent job, because I think they can make it a little bit not as dark. And I think they can make Breaking Bad into more palatable for the general public.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to pick a TV show that's never been done before in terms of turning into a game, I'd probably go with Family Matters.
Here you go.
Made by shut the fuck up. Let me get my shit off. I would do Family Matters. I'm being dead ass serious right now. I would do Family Matters, and it'd be made by Telltale. But here's the thing: it would focus on Urkel's transformation as Stefan, and it would be a dating simulator, because those daddy dating simulators are a big thing now. So imagine a game where Family Matters, Stefan's Chronicles, where you get to play as Stefan and you just fucking bad bitches, bro. That shit would be lit. And you had to pick. Come on, fuck with me.
No. No, sir.
Your game.
I will not.
Yeah.
Well, one of my favorite comments, I made a TikTok, a YouTube short about what's the name? The last Ronin game being rumored. One of my favorite comments is somebody said, "So is this gonna have co-op?" I'm just like, did you?
It's the last
Ronin.
The premise of the story is the three brothers are dead and there's only one left. Now, to play devil's advocate, because I did read the story recently. In there, April's alive and Casey are alive. They're married, but they're older. So if there is co-op, maybe Casey for a mission or two, but no, I don't think that. I think that's gonna be a single player game probably.
Because Master Splinter got collapsed too, right?
Yeah.
All of that.
It is what it is. So look out for that. That's not officially announced, but it's been a big rumor. A lot of people picking that one up. Another huge story since the last podcast is what's the name? Epic Games had their own little press conference. It's funny because this is an example of why E3 is dead, called State of the Unreal, where they talked about the state of the Unreal Engine. And there was a bunch of nerdy geek shit that I'm pretty sure Ethos can elaborate on what they're doing with the Unreal Engine 5. But the big news, the big hitter that came out was Fortnite Creator 2.0. I forgot the actual name of it, but that's what everybody's calling it, where basically anybody can make content inside of Fortnite. Think of it as like Roblox. You can make your own levels and like game modes, and you can like use the assets. It's almost like Diet Unreal Engine 5, like an easier way to access things, and then you can get your game hosted or your mode inside of Fortnite. I recently uploaded a video about it, trying it out, and I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty cool. I don't think Fortnite is going anywhere. I know people hate it. I'm not a big fan of it, but like after that shit, I was like, I don't think it's going anywhere. I played the mode where you get to play on Rust in Fortnite. I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie. Then there's like a bunch of different other game modes that people are making inside of there. People are getting creative, and it's only been like a couple weeks, like a year from now. That you're gonna see some really cool stuff from that. People are making single player experiences inside of there. Was there anything in the Unreal State of the Unreal that stood out to y'all? Game developer.
I was gonna let JG go first.
I didn't watch it, so.
Yeah, I was nerding out watching that whole thing. It's really impressive. They've basically compacted Unreal Engine 5 into a simplified like interface that like normal people who don't really have that much experience with like Unreal Engine can like open it and kind of like understand. And they have like really good stuff. Like I spent like an hour or two inside of it, and it was very impressive. Like it gives you like all the Fortnite assets. You can build maps. I think you've already seen like it's essentially, I feel like it's this generation's Halo Forge. And that's kind of interesting because I feel like for us last generation, like when we were growing up in the Xbox 360 era and stuff like that was our like Fortnite. I feel like Halo created so many of these different unique game modes and stuff that people were building inside of Forge on like this crazy weak console at the time. Now that I think about it, it's kind of nuts when you think about it that way. And now it's evolved into like, because of technology has grown so much, now they're like creating these brand new experiences and the graphics look completely different. You can make the game look remotely probably not even like Fortnite. Like if you can import your own models, you could change it around. The only kind of this, of course, is legal wise, is that of course like Epic can't let people do copyrighted stuff belonging to other IPs and stuff.
People
like
get in trouble for that.
Yeah, like they'll definitely get hit with legal stuff if like a IP finds out that somebody made their assets and put it inside there, and now they're putting it inside of a another game. So yeah, you can't really get mad at Epic for taking them down. But I think it's going to create a new generation of like game developers. I think like this is going to be a great way for like younger kids to get into game development without having to like go to school necessarily. Like kind of like how I felt back in the day with like modding, how like a lot of people got into game development because they'd mod games when they were younger in their teenage years, and then they use that as a resume and they would end up in like doing gaming like at a game studio. So I feel like this is going to be that modern day. I honestly think it's really smart with Epic because like they're potentially finding new developers and they're seeing these amazing things that they're building, and they're even paying them, which is in the best part. They're paying them for their time. They're not just like make us content and we're just going to rip you off and it gives us value. They're not like, oh, you make this stuff and then as people play it and they engage with it, you're going to get some money off the top for doing it. So it's like a win-win. So I think it's really good.
That's the way I look at it too. Like I've seen like a lot of people shitting on it, and I really need people to work on thinking about things outside of themselves. I look at it as a lower barrier to entry for people who want to get into game development. Like it's going to encourage kids to try things that they didn't think were possible, and then it might lead to, I look almost like at the Fortnite Creative 2.0 is like iMovie. And if they like iMovie enough, eventually they'll graduate to Final Cut Pro or Adobe or DaVinci Resolve. But it's like you gotta let people wet their feet, and I think that's dope. I'm not mad at that. And some of the stuff they making in there is pretty fun. It was pretty cool. I tried some of the stuff out. Fortnite is here to stay. Accept it. You're a big game developer. Did the announcement of Counter-Strike 2 and its new smoke physics do anything for you, Ethos?
I'm looks good, but like it's the same thing as Overwatch 2. It's the exact same type of thing.
What do you mean?
Like it's not really a sequel. It's just they added some new features and some new functionality from the engine to the game, and that we've put a new coat of paint on it, and that's about it. I think so. It's not the good news is they don't have the confusing marketing that Blizzard did, where oh, we're releasing this game and it's going to be a $70 game, and then oh no, we changed our minds, now it's going to be a free-to-play game, and everyone's confused about like, wait, what the hell is this game supposed to be? Is this an upgrade? Is this supposed to be a full brand new game? Where's the co-op? Hey, that's a good question. Where's the Overwatch co-op? It's been like almost a year, right? It's been damn near. We're closing in on getting close to like 6 months, almost 7 months, and I haven't even heard anything.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, forgot about that. I don't even know where the co-op is. So yeah, I mean, like for me,
that community doesn't care. They're eating it up.
I mean, the only people who are eating up are people who already were cracked on CS:GO, and they already have the game and they put thousands of hours onto it, and they're just gonna play it because
I'm in Overwatch, not CS.
Oh, I mean, yeah, they're cracked on. I mean, they're masochists. I don't know why you just keep playing that game now, but yeah, that's the gist of it. I just see it kind of similar to Overwatch 2.
I watched that trailer and it made me not want to play it. With the little smoke.
I will say I like the smoke. I thought the smoke thing was cool.
No, it's cool. Like the physics on the smoke are cool, and the internet was like going crazy, but it made me not want to play because like all I thought about is all the sweats and the shit they're gonna do with that.
Oh yeah,
I was like, I think I'm not gonna play this game.
Yeah, that's a really cool. Like I just thought, like from a strategic standpoint, like tactics and stuff, that could be kind of cool. How you could like use the smoke and then you could peek out of it and see people and shoot people through it. Like that's really cool. But for me personally, I'm good. I think I'm just good on Valorant. I'm staying there. I can't
care about Counter-Strike, Jay. 2?
I thought it was a new game for like Counter-Strike 2. I was like, oh, okay, it's smoke physics. No, it's not doing anything for me, but I don't know how much it's going to impact the people who still play that game, especially the professionals. But it did look cool though. Like I was looking at the video there, and they were showing like the different ways that like the smoke can literally like just basically just go into any like open space and like just mold itself into it, and then the fact that people like you can just shoot through it and it'll like take the smoke away. Like I think that's an interesting way, and it's going to definitely change the dynamic of the game. But Counter-Strike, I don't care about it. I haven't played Counter-Strike in forever, so for me it does nothing for me.
Valorant. What about a new Sony handheld? Would you guys be interested if they were working on one?
So they can just kill it and not support it again?
Yes or no question. Would you be interested in a new Sony handheld?
No. Yeah, because the Steam Deck is a thing, so
nobody cares what you think, because the reality is the rumors are circulating from Inside Gamer that Sony is working on a new handheld, codename Q Lite, and this got the internet excited. They said, is the PSP back? Maybe Vita 2 or PSP 2? Ladies and gentlemen, no. According to this rumor, the Q Lite is basically a mirroring device. This thing will not be able to natively play games. There will be no built-in like CPU, GPU, and you can't stream games from the cloud, but instead, this device's sole purpose will be to mirror your PS5 via remote play. It'll be able to use remote play 1080p 60 FPS, have an 8-inch screen, and according to this rumor, they're shooting for a holiday 2024 release. Would you guys buy an exclusive PlayStation 5 mirroring device?
Nope.
It's gonna be a no for me, dog. No for me. Did any of you in here actually try remote play for PlayStation?
Is it good?
It is really bad. Oh my god, the lag was terrible. It was like a good 1 to 2 seconds behind when I tried it. Now I don't know if it's better now.
You got fiber too, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't my connection. It was literally just,
that's what I'm saying. Like,
just the software. It was just a software itself. So I don't know if it's better with the PS5. I haven't tried it with the PS5, but I tried it with the PS4 when they first announced it, and it seemed like a good idea, but no, it was pretty bad. Like the lag was pretty terrible. So again, maybe if they somehow make sure that this remote play for the PS5 is 1-to-1. Then I will, recant my statement. But from what I saw, like nobody used this feature at all. So it's just another one of those things that PlayStation is introducing that just nobody is paying attention to, or the small amount of people that do, actually use some of these features, like it's bad, and it's not even good enough that it even generates any sort of traction. So it's I'm not excited about this.
Yeah, and then on top of that, I feel like there's not enough games on the platform to where I would want to mirror it anyway. Like maybe this would work for like a kid whose mom bought them a PS5, but they only got one TV, and she wants to be on the TV, and he wants to play his PS5. Maybe that can work. But then it comes down to, well, how much is this gonna cost? Because knowing Sony, they like to mark up the price. I bet you this bit'd be like $300 to mirror some shit. Listen, y'all, you can do remote play with your phone, your tablet, another TV. So to buy a handheld directly for the, man, get this shit out of here. I really hope this is not true, because if it comes out that this is true, I feel like the internet's gonna clown the fuck out of Sony, especially because the PSVR 2 has been failing like a motherfucker too. I mean, we can get into that too.
Wow,
but
surprise.
PSP2, we need a PSP2, 2 analog sticks, 4 shoulder buttons, none of that goofy touchscreen shit. Bring SOCOM Fireteam Bravo back. Listen, man, I'll buy 2. We need that. Bring back. Come on, man. We need that shit.
Y'all are delusional.
Why am I delusional?
I'm saying y'all SOCOM fans are delusional.
Oh.
Y'all still
no,
game
man.
has any relevance. I see y'all on the timeline trying to message old developers. Hey, bro, you gonna bring this back? And they just like, look at these idiots.
Who did that? Who did you see do that? I never did that in my life. This nigga just be making shit up, bro.
I didn't say you. I saw people. I saw certain people. On the timeline begging for their precious SOCOM to come back.
Again.
Well, since we're on the topic of Sony and I just brought it up, according to Eurogamer, PlayStation VR 2 sales are off to a slow start. Nobody's buying this shit. Apparently, according to Eurogamer, they've only sold 270,000 units. And I talked about this on stream earlier today. I found out that apparently you can only buy this through Sony Direct. You can't even get it in store. And then there's like no games to play on it. And the games that are playable, they're all available on the Oculus and all the other VR headsets outside of Horizon Call of the Mountain. But $550 for one game is probably like 2 hours. It's probably not worth your time. Does it surprise you that the VR 2 is not selling well?
Not at all, because the first one didn't make any traction either. So like I said, I still don't think that we're in the state that people are going to, forego getting a console experience or a PC experience over wearing a headset and trying to play a AAA game or any type of game for that matter in a serious manner. Like, we're still not there yet. I know the price point is a huge barrier, but even still, like, I don't think that there's enough content right now that would keep someone sustained for a long amount of time.
I feel like I'm at a point where, like, I don't know, I'm having a hard time believing in VR for gaming. Maybe for like medical reasons and stuff like that, but like for gaming, I feel like how many times are we gonna have this conversation? Like, oh, we just need like 5 more years. Like, I feel like we've been saying that for the last 5 years.
Yeah, when HTC Vive came out, that was literally when I first came down to Tampa in 2015. We were having that conversation. So like it's been 8 years now. Like, so
I don't think developers know what to do with it. And then the developers that do, you also have to look at it from a business standpoint. Why take all your resources and make this unique experience for VR headset knowing that the adoption rate is really low? And then on top of that, there's new headsets coming out every 5 seconds too. Like, I feel like it's just too big of a risk as a developer. Like, you don't want your studio going under for some shit that super might work. I can understand why it's not getting really the support. Sony needs like a killer app. Go ahead, bring that SOCOM on, bring it back to the PlayStation VR 2. I would get one.
And you know what? Going back to that previous conversation, maybe Sony does need Call of Duty, because if they're releasing this PSVR at 2 and it's not working out, then they're just wasting money. Maybe they do need Call of Duty more than we think.
Yeah, they wasting. I think that a handheld Sony would work in this market with the success of the Switch, the Steam Deck, and then Logitech's coming out. Like, everybody's coming out with these handhelds. Clearly there's demand for it. So I feel like it is time for Sony to come back and do one. It's just, they got to support it. They got to put games on that shit. I would buy a handheld. I don't know if this is like a hot take. I would say the PSP is number 2. I would say the original Game Boy is the greatest handheld of all time. And then I'd put PSP at number 2. Like, I love the fucking PSP. So like, I feel like a lot of people feel the same. So it's like, if they do it correctly, the problem with Sony is they like to put out shit and then not support it. You've seen that with PlayStation Move, PSVR, now PSVR 2. The Vita, they didn't support it. It seems like they're all over the place and they need to make up their mind in terms of what direction they want to go in. They need to go in one direction, just like Etho's favorite band.
Huh?
What? Let's talk about Assassin's Creed.
Band is Linkin Park.
Assassin's Creed. There's some new rumors out for Assassin's Creed codename Red, which is Assassin's Creed Japan that they announced. So some new rumors came out that apparently you'll be able to play as 2 different playable characters. One is a shinobi and another is a samurai. And one of them is black. I think it's the samurai. In this game will have
Samurai's black?
Yeah, let me reread. I'm pretty sure it was the samurai.
Afro Samurai.
Hidden Blood. I know they're shooting for a 2024 or 2025 release date, and apparently the game will draw inspiration from Splinter Cell, be a much more bigger emphasis on stealth, which is like just make another Splinter Cell at Ubisoft. I don't know.
Yeah, thanks Ubisoft. I guess we'll take what we can. I guess.
Good job, yo.
But does this 2 character? There it is right here. I found it in the article. I'm tired. So according to Insider Gaming's Tom Henderson, there are 2 playable characters, a samurai and a shinobi. The official teaser at Assassin's Creed Reg is said to depict the game's female samurai protagonist, while the other character is said to be a shinobi and an African refugee, one who joined the Brotherhood at some point. So what's that doing for y'all?
Well, it's probably like the story of the actual historical story of the Black Samurai. What's his name? I forgot his name.
Urameshi, isn't it? Or
no, I think Urameshi. I forgot his name. Anyways, yeah,
Yusuke.
Yeah, Yusuke. Yeah. So.
Yeah. This sounds cool. I got to see like gameplay, and I got to see what that stealth means for it. But this sounds cool. I would just hope that like if they do the 2 different protagonists, they have different play styles. I don't like they did it with Valhalla and like Odyssey, but they play exactly the same. It's just
Just a male or female. Just pick which character in. Yeah.
If they're gonna do a shinobi and a samurai, I hope that they fight differently because those are 2 completely different fighting styles. And also, this sounds like Ghost of Tsushima. But go ahead, Jay.
Nah, I mean, I think it's interesting, but like I said, it's been really hard for Ubisoft lately. So I hope that they get this right, even though it's still like it's 10 years too late at this point. Like I said, we've had other games come in and literally just steal the show, like Ghost of Tsushima, for example, which we already mentioned. So we'll have to see how this is, but I can only hold on to hope that this will be interesting enough and not freaking 70 plus hours.
Yeah, why you say it like this? It's been really hard for Ubisoft. Ubisoft is really poor. You might as well just said that. The way you said it was so sad.
Bro, because I really don't want to see them in this state. Like, it's really been bad. Like, we actually knew people who like work for Ubisoft. Like, we've always gotten invited to events and play their games early. Like, I just don't want to see them go down like this. Like, I actually do genuinely care. I'm like, why y'all like this? Like, what is going on at your company that like you all just keep failing?
We've been over it. Nepotism. It's a family-owned business. The family that originally started the business owns the majority of the shares, and apparently they're a bunch of arrogant pricks that don't listen to anybody. From the articles that I read, that's the gist I got out of it. They own like 51% of the company, so it's like even though it's publicly traded, the family makes sure they maintain power. And that's why nothing gets done.
Succession.
Ding, 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 ding. Elden Ring DLC, we've been asking for this for a long time. Rarely do you ever hear us clamor for DLC, but they announced that it's finally coming. And like some of the tryhards on the internet, they did some digging, and based off the images that were posted online, people believe this DLC will involve the brother of Millennia. What's that doing for y'all?
It was named Malekith.
Yeah, Malekith is something with an N. Yeah, what's that doing for y'all?
All I know is we will be there day one.
It's gonna be fire. whatever happens,
whatever it is, we're gonna be back. We will be back.
We never did a PvP tournament for the community. We were supposed to do that in Elden Ring. I was bodying people in Elden Ring, bro. You could tell from that PvP shit who had the cheap ass Crack Rocks magic builds, bro. Because once you got in, they could not fight on the inside.
Are the servers still bad? Wasn't that the reason why we didn't?
Yeah, the servers were having some issues. It was the servers and then the Discord stuff it was around the same time. So I was like, I'll hold off on this till we finish the Discord partnership. So we'll do it for a Discord thing, hopefully, if everything goes fine.
Gotcha. Here's some that might excite your nerd brain. Asus just announced the other day they're working on their own Steam Deck rival. It's called the ROG or Rog Ally. 1080p, 120 hertz screen.
Did you say Ace? Or am I tripping?
Did I say
Asus.
Oh, did you say I thought you said Ace. I was like, Ace?
No. You not be slurring words.
Baseball grade.
What's the name? It's got AMD chips in it. Apparently, it's more powerful than the Steam Deck, which I didn't like that they did that like in the announcement because I'm like, at this point, the Steam Deck's 2 years old. I would hope your platform's stronger than it. Like PC.
No, it's only a year old. It ain't that old. It's
still newer. Like I would hope.
It's a new piece of software, yeah, but it's still
What's this doing for you? You think this is going to be the first big competitor for the Steam Deck ethos?
I've said it once and I'll say it again. Multiple competitors have always come out with their own AI. It was IO Neo and everything else, and they've all said the same thing. Oh, it's more powerful. It's more powerful than the Steam Deck. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what is the price point. If you can't touch the Steam Deck's price point, it does not matter. People are not going to care. The reason why the Steam Deck blew up was because the price was very affordable. It was basically having like buying another console, and because of the software, because it's backed by Valve. And I'm sorry, but like Valve has more like, name recognition and push than, your company that's just like, hey, we just threw Windows on it. You know what I mean? Like the Valve really has been pushing like a very good public image when it comes to the Steam Deck, so it's going to be hard for them.
I watched several videos of people unboxing and reviewing those AO Airs, which are the competitors to the Steam Deck.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't help but feel like they just buy them to be different and say like, oh, I don't got a Steam Deck, I got the new shit. And like they look like nice devices, but the UI is not as good as Steam Deck. And then like the price, like those AOs are like $1,100. And then like the one I watched, it was like $1,100, and the battery lasts like an hour and a half. I'm like, you lost me, bro. Like
they're just farming for views. It's just farming for views. It's just like the Steam Deck's a very popular thing, so it's just like, this new thing would just compare it to the Steam Deck, even though it's like, why would you compare?
That's cute, but it's not. It's not competitive.
You're not being honest. Yeah. Same thing.
So that's on the way. That Logitech one was disappointing because it was only a streamer, but it is what it is. New Street Fighter movie being developed. This was just announced the other day from the official Street Fighter account. Live action, being produced by the Legendary Entertainment Company and Capcom. I was not familiar with Legendary, so I had to look them up. Hold up, let me bring it up on my notes. See what movies they've made. Legendary Productions has made they made Dune, Godzilla vs. Kong, Pacific Rim. So yeah, those are some of the big movies that they've made. Because I'm not gonna lie, at first I read the headline for this, I'm like, oh god, it reminded me of the original Street Fighter movie, and then most gaming movies suck. But then I saw who's working on it. I was like, okay, they got somebody with a pedigree. This might be good. How y'all feeling about this?
It might be interesting. We shall see. And literally, like if The Last of Us, it really just depends on like who is actually heading the game to film adaptation. And Street Fighter, I mean, I haven't been paying attention to this before. I have no clue what like happened in Street Fighter 5. I don't know how drastically things have changed. I don't know what storyline that they're planning on being in with this live action Street Fighter, but I mean, it has the potential to be like decent and not just a meme at this point. So we shall see. But also, if we go back to that Mortal Kombat remake, that wasn't so good. So I'm kind of pessimistic about this.
It was like a 6 out of 10.
It could have been worse. It could have been worse.
That last Mortal Kombat was not good.
Could have been worse. You know.
Yeah, it could have been worse. That's true. That's true. It definitely could have been worse. So I don't know. We'll have to see what this one is going to be. It's going to be up in the air.
Thank you. This motherfucker needs some attention.
Hmm.
What was I gonna say?
Hey, Aki.
They say hi. Aki.
Hi,
I think he's
Aki.
hungry. I haven't fed him in yet.
Go feed him.
No. We fine.
We can hold the podcast down. Go ahead, bro. People understand.
He'll be all right. What's the name? What was I about to say? Segway.
I don't know. He looked like he really hungry, bro.
He's like you about to bite your arm.
I'm about to bite you. No, he look like he about to eat your arm, bro.
Let me put something in this bowl real quick.
Yeah. So what's next, JG?
All right. So, Budokai Tenkaichi 4.
Oh yeah, oh my god.
Budokai Tenkaichi 4 is on the way. Had the internet ablaze. People are excited about it, but me personally, I think it's nostalgia.
Oh,
I think it's nostalgia.
You think it's gonna be mid?
This is my hot
who's
take.
Developing it? Who's the developer for it?
Bandai Namco.
Oh, okay.
Do we remember what those games were? It was just doing Kai beam battles, right? It was pressing the same buttons.
It was fun. Okay, come on. Okay, after Dragon Ball Z Fighters during the FGC, you know how hyped those fights were, right? You're gonna tell me that this one is not gonna be hyped during FGC?
But that was a different. That was first of all, that was made by Atlas, right? That was made by Atlas, and that was more akin to like the Marvel game, Marvel versus Capcom. So you had three people. It was a tag team style. So that was a whole different type of fighting, movement, especially for a Dragon Ball anime fighter, because what is the anime fighter now? What is that culture? It's press one button. It's the Ninja Storms
DBZ game.
Talking about Tenkaichi?
Budokai Tenkaichi 4. Yeah.
You said it might be mid.
So I brought that up on stream. So I said, would y'all be upset if Tenkaichi 4 was 3, but it was just more characters in it? Because I'm trying to wrap my brain around how are they gonna make it more innovative.
No, I don't think they need to innovate it. It's been so long since it's come out. I think they could just literally, just like what you said, just copy the formula for 3, just give it modern graphics, make it look really nice, and then add some more of the roster from Super, and then call it a day. I think that's really all they have to do.
Here's another thing, though, that I haven't seen a lot of people take into consideration. This is being made by Bandai Namco, and Bandai Namco that made Tenkaichi 3 is not the Bandai Namco of 2023. I love that rhymed. So I just gonna go out on a whim and say, don't be surprised if there's a battle pass. If you get base Goku with the game, but you got to pay for Super Saiyan 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm just saying, I expect a lot of DLC, and they're probably gonna lock the cool characters, but you got to pay for Broly and shit.
All I'm saying is, if you don't do this, the game's ass. If you're not rolling,
you're not going to destroy your controller.
The beam struggle.
Yeah, the game's ass. I guarantee. If that's not in the game, the game's ass. Guaranteed, 100%.
What's the name?
I don't know.
I don't have a super affinity with the Budokai series. I liked it, but mechanically, it wasn't. The most amazing game to me. I feel like people are blinded by nostalgia. What's the name? Another anime game that was announced was another Shonen crossover. So Ninja Storm, they tweeted out, a new Shonen Jump crossover ultimate game is well under development, aka a Jump Force 2 type beat. I'm not saying it's gonna be called that, but I'm getting Junk Force vibes. Cyber Connect 2 joins Spike Chunsoft on the project in 2020. Development started well in 2018, so it's been in development for 5 years. And I got a little excited. And then this last line right here, let me highlight this. The game will use mechanics from the Storm saga. So basically, Naruto Ultimate Ninja Storm with Luffy and Goku. Press B to win. You lost me. Are y'all excited about this?
No. Fool me once with Jump Force. You're not gonna fool me again with this one. I'm out. I'm completely out.
Can I just say
you're gonna have to really show me something that would make me want to play? Because we were hyped about Jump Force, and you remember that one person who said he was still playing. He said this is a 6-month game.
I forgot about that quarter 6-month game.
He said it was a 6-month game. Come on, man. Nah, that game barely lasted a week with any of us. We did not play it anymore. We were done.
Yeah. The Ninja Storm community is some of the biggest glue eaters on the internet, man. You tell them that it's not a deep fighter and you just press one button to do all the moves. No, it's not. Get the fuck out of here, bro. That shit is, bro. We need more games like Dragon Ball Fighters. We don't need any more of these arena fighters where you spam one button to do a bunch of cool shit on screen. It's not a fulfilling experience, and it dies out pretty soon, and then all you have is weebs on the goddamn server. So I think they need to evolve the formula. I'm hoping it just borrows elements from Ultimate Ninja Storm, but it actually does something different. We'll see. So yeah, look for another anime crossover game in the coming year. That's all I got on the show notes for gaming news. So I guess we can move over to the social justice warrior side of things. JG's favorite section. We specialize in things. I got a really funny story for you here, JG. World-renowned streamer Nick Mercs. I think he's one of the founding members of the FaZe clan. A very big streamer, known for shooters. I think he built his name on Call of Duty, but recently he's been playing more Apex. I don't know. I don't watch him. That's what I heard. He tweeted out, if you cheat and hack in video games, you should 100% be sent to jail. I know the majority of y'all are busy touching grass and shit. That's lit. Super happy for you. But your boy just spent 20 hours getting hacked in an online video game, and I've had enough. What's that doing for you, Jay? You think gamers should go to jail for cheating?
First of all, that was a great rating. So kudos to you. You really put the emphasis in that tweet, right?
Mr. Charisma.
Second of all, we can tell that Nick Mercs is very upset because he streams a lot.
You can tell.
We could tell. He plays a lot of Call of Duty, and the reason why he went to Apex, he was a Call of Duty refugee. When we were heavy into Apex, he was a Call of Duty refugee that came over to Apex, and he ended up getting up to Predator. Like, he was up there, he played it a lot. He was like, oh, like I really like the game now, but the reason why he moved over was because there was a lot of hacking going on in Warzone. So I understand why he's upset, because he constantly has to deal with this. But to go to his original point, I think that there are levels to this. I think that if you're getting to a point where you are not only making cheats, making hacks, but you're also selling them, then yeah, your ass would be in jail for some undisclosed amount of time. I ain't saying going there for life, but I think that there should be some repercussions to you doing that, because not only are you making the game bad for anyone who actually wants to play legit, but then you're also making a profit, and you're spreading your knowledge, you're spreading your programming, your hacks to other people who also cheat, and then it just becomes a whole world of cheaters who are using the same hacks to make everyone else's experience a bad one. So yeah, I think those people should go to jail, but I don't think just because you downloaded or bought a hack for somebody that you should experience jail time for it. And I mean, we try anti-cheat. It doesn't work all the time, clearly. You try to IP ban people, you try to hardware ban people, they're still gonna find a way, because people are dedicated. That's just what they do. But I don't think everybody who hacks or cheats should go to jail. I feel like that's way too harsh.
You should definitely find their asses. I think they deserve to get fined. I don't think you should just be able to just do it.
I agree with Ethos. I was like,
yeah, but not go to jail. Get fined. Yes, but not go to jail.
No. I disagree. Where I disagree with you, I'm saying that, like, if you download and buy the hack, it's whatever. But the ones who create it, I don't think they should go to jail either. No, I don't think they should go to jail. I think they should be fined, an extensive fine. Because like, here's the way that I'm looking at it. Listen, I'm a hard-working, tax-paying American. I pay a lot of taxes, and when people go to jail, that comes out of our pocket, right? We have to pay for their meals.
Oh, that sound like a true Republican there, buddy.
Listen, if they're cheating in a video game, I don't want to pay for their 3 square meals, bro. So just fucking fine them $100,000 fine. You don't think $100,000 fine on a cheater would make them stop?
I mean, it depends on how much money they making.
Yeah,
they over there selling the hacks, bro.
Well, they're gonna seize the assets. You're not gonna be able to, and then you're gonna be, and then if you break the law again, then maybe you'd go back to jail. But like the first time, I think a fine.
Fantasy, bro. In the words of Final Fantasy Tactics, a fine only affects people who are poor. A fine really only works on people who are poor. It does not work on people who have money. It's just
just like a basketball player getting fined $20,000 for cursing out a coach. Like,
fines are just a way to subject and to.
Wait, what Final Fantasy was that?
Tactics. That's an actual quote from Tactics. Tactics said that fines are used to suppress the poor people, basically. It's quoted. Yeah, I can find the image. Yeah, it's only used. It never hurts the rich. It only helps.
Well, they creating hacks. They poor spiritually.
That's true. But I genuinely think you have to make an example of some of these people. I think
how much jail time do you think the creators of hacks should get?
The thing is the tax money, all that stuff. It only matters if you're holding them in there for a long time, right? Like, I don't think it's that much if you're holding them there. Put them in there for 30 days and put them in general population. Now that will make sure they will.
30 days in general pop would hit harder than $100,000 fine.
Do you want to go to general population for 30 days, TBH?
I'm a shooter.
I would not go to general population.
You don't all right.
All right.
They be like, big step on Hokage? But niggas would be giving me day honey bun in fucking prison, bro. What the fuck? Yo, I'm sorry.
I get you. Somebody in prison would probably recognize, but hey, ain't you MW?
Yo, I love your Call of Duty videos.
I love your trolling.
Like, what you doing here?
You can have my cigarettes, bro. You the man, bro. You the man.
What you doing here, bro? I hacked in a video game. Damn, bro.
Can I just say though?
They gonna see you in your cell tonight.
Can I say the part of the tweet that cracks me up is he says your boy spent 20 hours getting hacked in a game. I'm sorry, that's a you problem. I need about an hour tops before I get off the game. 20,
turn the game off, bro. Turn the computer off, bro.
At that point, that's your personal choice, dog. Get off the fucking game, dude.
think I empathize. Like I get it. It's his job, so he has to play this game constantly. And I can imagine after a week of just dealing with that, it can be frustrating, infuriating. I think there needs to be a punishment. There needs to be some more hardcore punishment done, because if you don't, I did a whole psychological research. Oh, I'm gonna be a fucking nerd. I made a video a long time ago talking about the psychology of cheating, and I actually did a lot of research on it. And the whole point has been, the common result has been, you have to be more. Your punishment has to be high enough that it deters people from cheating. If you make it some low slap on the wrist thing, they're just going to do it again. Like psychologically speaking, cheaters will cheat again if you don't hit them hard enough with a punishment. So I think, yeah, if it needs to be jail time, whether it's like a day, a week, or something like that in there, and it just keeps increasing, like, yeah, like I'm not saying if you hack a game, like as a user, you should be thrown in jail. I'm saying if you've created cheats, if you help distribute cheats, you need to get punished. Maybe, yeah, some jail time.
Yeah, the plug.
Yeah, if you're the plug, you need some jail time, bro. I'm just saying, bro. If you're a detriment, and of course, like some big fine to fine you. There has to be something we have to do, or someone needs to develop a way better method to be able to track people, because obviously IP banning doesn't work. There's too many ways you can get around it. There has to be some new method to
actually, you know what? I could see the jail time being a thing, because then you could also make the argument, especially because like Warzone has crazy hackers. You can make the argument you're fucking with Activision's money by distributing these hacks.
You are. You're messing with
making people not want to play. Yeah, I can see
you're
that.
All right, y'all. Here's the
loss
plan.
of revenue and everything else. Yeah.
Put all the cheaters and hackers in the gulag and have them fight them out. Do it in real life.
They did that. That was funny. I think you remember that, right? Remember when they announced that when they added Ricochet to Call of Duty, they basically said, we're not banning cheaters. We're actually just making sure they get sent to the same.
They gonna put them all together.
They all
do it in real life, though. Do it in real life. Put it in real life for real.
That's how you solve it. The Hunger Games in real life. We can solve world entertainment. We do all of it. All the cheaters. Wait, I don't know if y'all remember. Okay, I'm gonna be kind of a boomer here. Do any of y'all remember back in the day that Gerald Butler movie called Gamer? Where he was like a prison, he was a legit, like,
unfortunately, yes.
Yeah, he was a prisoner, right? And there was like a gamer controlling him. It was like a death game, but it'd be like someone would control him, but if he survived the game, they like reduce your sentence the longer you survive the death game. Mm-hmm. And a bunch of gamers would take control of these basically these criminals, like death row criminals. That's like the entire person. It's a terrible, stupid movie, but it's one of those like it's so bad that it's good type movies. I do recommend it. They should do that in real life with this. Make the cheaters go in there and then let us, the genuine gamers, control them. that would be fun. That would be fun.
So long story short, you're going to jail.
What other SPW thing you got?
I got rid of the other ones because I thought about it. It doesn't really have anything to do with gaming. It's just some other goofy ass.
Yeah, it was just some random stuff. But this one was important. Though. I liked it. I liked the tweet. It started up a good conversation.
That's funny. Do you got anything y'all want to add to the show before we wrap it up? Then we over the 2-hour mark already.
Yeah, it's been a lot this episode that we missed. So we're gonna be back on schedule, y'all. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to bi-weekly. I'm pretty sure in the next episode we'll talk about the Mario movie that just came out. So we can't talk about it now. Like we're all gonna see it this weekend. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll talk about that.
They're doing numbers though, man. They say it's a good
Actually,
video game.
Can we talk about
movie.
that real quick? Because like the main thing is like people the critics are like panning it, but then the people love it. I think it has like a 98% on Metacritic, not Metacritic, but Rotten Tomatoes with the people, and then a 48 with like the critics. Without none of us have seen it. Why do y'all think that is? What's the disconnect?
It's always been like that. There's always been moments where the critics praise something and the like consumers love it, or vice versa. You know, the consumers hate it, but the critics love it. It's always that. It is what it is.
Are there any video games that are like mostly catered to kids that like movie critics actually take seriously?
Got Pilgrim was received, I think, pretty well. That's based off of a video game, or not a video game. It's based off of a comic, isn't it? But it was a video game, or was the video game? The movie's actually pretty good. Highly recommend it. If you haven't seen the movie, you should watch it. It's a really good movie.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just a film. I don't feel like there are too many.
Pilgrim got a 82, but I think this was based off of a comic book or a comic series first. I think.
Yeah, I think there was a comic book. Yeah, so I don't know.
I think Detective Pikachu.
That was a decent live action. People say.
I think that was the first one I watched in a long time. That was like the first before like when everyone was like, yeah, any movie based on video game is going to be ass. I think that was the first one I watched where I was like, this was genuinely pretty good. Like it grew with its audience. It didn't like treat me like a child. Like I enjoyed every second of watching it. That one was 68%. So it was considered a positive movie reception, and then the audience also enjoyed it at 79, so a little higher, but same idea.
Okay.
They really shitting on this movie. Yeah, 56. Yeah, that's crazy.
I think it's just a bunch of people who aren't familiar with the source material critiquing it like it's not like a kids movie. While it's nowhere
near as thrilling as hurdle tipping your way to 128 lives, the Super Mario Bros. Movie is a colorful, a bit thinly plotted animated adventure that has about as many Nintendos as Nintendon'ts. Oh, that's
who's going into the Mario movie looking for like a rich story? This motherfucker didn't even talk until Mario 64, and all he says is hee hee, ho ho, ah. Like, wow. Like, what?
Like,
I was gonna get a deep story out of that.
Mario's animated movie is too safe and passive. More content with referencing its source material than playing with it.
It's too safe. It's a kids movie. What do you want Mario to do?
What it seems to have forgotten is creating an engaging story. It's bland, uninterested, and cobbled together. It's an emotionally bland and yet garnished enough to psychologically sedate the preteen Eastern audience. What the? That is cruel.
Do they know how long it's been around? I expect to see just as many adults in the movie theater as kids. Like, what are they talking about, bro?
It seems like everybody's saying the plot and the writing is lazy and stupid, but I'm like, it's a kids movie. I don't.
Yeah, the first time I saw the trailer, I was thinking Finding Nemo type beat. Like, it's a kids movie. I'm not trying to take it super serious. Like, it's like
a lot of people it's just like the story of it. They just shitting on it. It's the story. It's like they'll say it's so colorful and vibrant, but the story's ass. But
I went to watch the Mario movie expecting Evangelion. Like, the fuck out of here, right? That's what I'm getting.
That's kind of insane. Yeah, I don't know why you'd ever expect that out of.
We'll dive into that once we all have seen the movie. But it's very interesting narrative going on surrounding that.
People are stupid. That's what I'm
all right, then. Jay, you got the show floor. What is your closing statement for Game and Illuminati episode 140? Go.
Hey, I hope that you all got your fix. I know that we've been gone, like I said, but we back, baby. One of the best podcasts out here doing it since 2013. So I definitely appreciate everybody for sticking with us. And for those who don't know, you've been under a rock. Look, the Discord is popping. It's revamped. So please get in there. It's free. It's free. It's free. I don't know how many times you got to say that. It's free. So join today. We have 2,300 members in there now. And it's been a week. 2,300. So we officially almost got like 1,000 new members in almost a week. So we're about to have a lot more people in there, a lot more engagement. So just please join the movement. And once again, it's free. Discord.gg/GI updates. Me in there.
True. Ethos, what's your closing statement for episode 140? Go.
Thanks everybody for stopping by and being patient with the podcast. Shout out to everybody in the Discord who joined. That's been a pet project that I was ripping my hair out about for the past month, but I appreciate everybody who's been accepting of it and has been very supportive of it. We do really appreciate you guys, and we hope that you guys really see the amount of time and effort we've taken into this project to like really think it out, and we hope that you guys come away with it to realize that like we're trying to evolve the community more, and we're trying to reach a new milestone and really do some really amazing stuff with you guys for this year. That's it.
True. My closing statement is all those people for the last month, because I swear to God, bruh, I have never seen this before. Like, when's the next podcast? When the next podcast? Every other fucking comment on the Twitch stream, where's in the YouTube comment? When the next podcast? Motherfuckers been fiending for this shit. I better see y'all hit the goddamn like button the way y'all been fiending for this shit. Yeah, share the shit. Get us going in the fucking algorithm. We need y'all support. Hop in that Discord too, because not only is like I'm trying to raise money for like tournaments, for like community only tournaments, but I've even had conversations with my agent. I told him like some of the ideas, and he was talking about potentially being able to bring on some like big sponsors, and that it'll be easier to put things together if we have you guys in the Discord, like supporting what we're doing, hitting the like button. It'll be even easier if we have like the numbers. If y'all are doing y'all part. So hey, we need y'all help. Hit the like button. If you made it to this part of the podcast, put hashtag join the Discord in the comments, and you can join the Discord at discord.gg untired/GI updates.
I love how you nailed the intro, but now it's reversed. Now the
out of here, bro. He done.
I've had a long day. Okay, I've had a long day. I just did a 6-hour stream. And Resident Evil 4 remake just sucked the fucking life out of me, bro. I was like,
for 6 hours, sheesh.
Dry,
Okay.
huh?
oh, I've been trying to do something new because like ever since I got this little motherfucker, bro, it kind of fucked me. I can't do like long streams anymore because now I gotta take care of somebody and he actually needs exercise. So like I've been leaving the stream on and like for like 20-30 minute breaks and going for a walk. So I didn't stream the whole time for 6 hours. It's like every 2 hours I take like a break. But yeah,
If only you had him during Millennia, that would have helped you a lot.
this has been Gaming Illuminati episode 140. We appreciate everybody coming through and checking out the show. If you made it to this part of the show, put in the comment section at youtube.com/GI updates, hashtag join the Discord, which is possible by clicking the link in the description box below to discord.gg/GI updates. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, hey, what up? Hit the like button, well, the stars, because we need 5 stars to get you guys up on the ratings. And other than that, we appreciate you guys once again for listening and watching, and we'll see you on the next episode of the Gaming Illuminati podcast. Peace.
Stay black, y'all.
What else am I gonna do?
All right.